Hello, welcome back to Water. My name is Beast, and today we're back with YoaMae. I don't know how long I'll be recording for the day because I slept like shit, and it is like 10:15 p.m. because I actually was considering not even recording today because just general tired. Like you love when you're trying to sleep and suddenly life hits you with the heartburn chest pain combo. Because like, I think I've talked about this, how occasionally my chest can hurt a lot for some fucking reason. And what I usually have to do for that is lay down perfectly straight for it to maybe help a little. Or at the very least not get worse. But the heartburn makes it so I have to sit upright for that to go away. But doing that will cause the chest pain to get worse. So it's just basically, I'm fucked either way. So yeah, love it when that combo shows up. Anyways, it's past noon. Towards the chapel under the brutal sunlight. The museum is holding their special exhibition starting today. I would very much like to visit Estel, but... Is it because it's a special exhibition? There are more human figures in the residential district than usual. Can't distinguish them as Lunarians from their look, but I think the majority of them are Earthlings. But I know it's unusual for Lunarians to observe the buildings of the residential districts, and they don't get prepared to use cameras on the streets. But I feel slightly embarrassed from just watching them. Quick my pace and set out for the chapel. Even though it's a weekday, there are tons of people in the chapel courtyard. There's some kind of special service going on. There are people inside too, about 20 people casting. Consisting of males and females are staring at the walls and ceilings with their cameras ready.
すみません。こちらからはお入りいただけませんので。
Immediately hear Estel's voice. She's standing in front of a door that continues further in.
そうなんですか。
なんだ。
Young couples change course with bored looks.
申し訳ありませんが、祭壇の撮影はご遠慮ください。
ああ、ごめんごめん。
Moritz is bowing to a guy in front of the altar. What the heck's going on? Estel?
達也。
おお、朝霧さん。
Approach the two of
ちょっ
them.
とこちらへ。
Estel pulls him a sleeve and brings you to a corner of the chapel.
どういうことですか？
She snaps at me with a snarl. That's what I want to ask you!
実はお昼前くらいから急に人が来るようになったのです。写真は撮るし、部屋まで入ってくるし、開いた口が塞がりません。廊下に知らない人がいた時には心臓が止まるかと思いました。
That certainly is scary. Before noon means... They the guests who came for the museum's special exhibit. You mentioned that the museum has an exhibit related to the church, right? That's happening today. Aren't the people coming here the ones who are interested in seeing this exhibit? Can understand why they would want to check out the chapel beside the museum once they've seen the church-related exhibition.
そんな。
Estel shakes with
こ
anger.
こは観光地では。
Estel holds herself back from yelling out, screaming that doesn't change the
あなたは
situation.
人事だから落ち着いていられるのです。
Makes you feel kind of sad being told that. Anyway, let's think of a way to deal with this.
そうですね。
I hear the sound of a phone ringing into the
あ
distance.
もう。
Estel leaves the chapel in an irritated manner. There's a lady wandering around behind Estel. Excuse me, that way's closed.
お手洗いをお借りしたいのですが。
I don't know where the restroom is. I have no choice but to ask Moritz here. Excuse me, Moritz, but this person needs to use the restroom.
ああ、わかりました。ご案内しますので、朝霧さん、ここをお願いします。祭壇は撮影をご遠慮してもらってください。
Got it. Switch posts with Moritz. That's bad. Each person coming here doesn't mean any harm. That person just now only wanted to borrow the
すみま
restroom.
せん。そこを撮影したいんですけど、ちょっと横に動いていただけますか。
Sorry, it's forbidden to take photos of this.
そうなんですか。だったら看板立てておけばわかりやすいですよ。
Thanks for the suggestion. Actually, there would be one if they had one. That guy didn't mean any harm. I know that, but if this continues on the whole day...
失礼しました。
Estel. Turned over my head with a startle. Seems to be extremely
ま
peeved
た
off.
見学会の問い合わせです。
I have no choice but to pity her
無
now.
理だって言っているのに何度も何度も同じことを。しかもそれでも聖職者ですかなどと偉そうに。
And it looks like she's on the verge of snapping. Simmer down there.
何か考えつきましたか？
No, I've been busy on my side. I hear a dangerous sound. Sorry, I think of something right away. What immediately comes to mind is a signboard. She doesn't want people to enter, then she can write entries forbidden. She doesn't want people to take pictures, so she can write photos are forbidden. There's no other choice but to borrow or make a signboard to start with. But from where? Is there a place that has a signboard? I'll go borrow one from the museum.
何をですか？
A signboard that says forbidden to enter and one that says forbidden to take photos. I think they'll have a lot of trouble with just that.
意外に冴えていますね。
Surprisingly, is it? Let's stick a paper up in the meantime. I just realized that I forgot to make a backup of the recording from yesterday. Motherfucker. I'm a dumbass. Was Sushi to part 20 if I remember correctly. Anyways. Do you have any paper and large pen?
持ってきます。
Make an entry forbidden and photos are forbidden on the paper she bought and stick it to the necessary places. I think this will be a temporary solution for the
ありが
moment.
とう。急なことで頭が回っていませんでした。
I'll head over to the museum for a little bit
お
then.
願いします。
The number of people in the courtyard is increasing little by little. What will happen during the weekend? I shiver. I can visibly see people entering from outside the museum. I spot the usual working staff member who seems to be busy at the entrance.
チケットは左の券売機でお買い求めください。
She then disappears off somewhere. Looks like this place won't work.
どうでした？
They're busy over there too!
そうですか。
Alright, there we go. Close that, delete those two. She looks like, she looks at me with a big look of disappointment. When she looks at me like that, I'll work to make up for it. I roll up my sleeves as she stares at me with a slight look of surprise.
あなたが頑張ることはないのに。
It concerns me.
ありがとう。
It's 7 at night, our surroundings have gone dark and the people are finally gone.
ありがとうございます、朝霧さん。
Not at all, I'm used to looking after visitors. And though I say this, I actually am tired. Surprisingly, everybody didn't look at the paper we stuck up. Estel takes a seat and lets out a deep sigh. Good job.
今日はありがとう。
Estel pushes down on her brow as she says that. Estel, what bad timing. Estel gets up with a word and without a word and leaves the chapel. Till when do we still get calls?
遅い時には11時過ぎになることもあります。
That's terrible.
電話に出ているのはエステルですが、少し参ってきているようですね。私どもは朝が早いので、その時間には寝ていることが多いのです。
You should have told me. Think about what would happen if she did. Situation didn't change, even with me here. The only thing I can do is answer the phone and place Vest.
あなたに弱みは見せたくないのでしょう。親しい人にほど弱みを見せたがらない子です。
At this rate, Estel won't.
参ってしまうかもしれません。
She is originally a person who hates having Earthlings into the chapel itself. So she's been extremely patient with this. Estel comes back and takes a seat without a word. I can tell without asking. She was asked about the tour visit again. I'll go to the museum before it opens tomorrow. Think I'll be able to talk to him in the morning. They might lend us a signboard if they have a spare.
よろしくお願いします。
Man home then. She finally raises her face. Please rest up and take it easy.
ありがとう。
ありがとうございます。
I leave behind the chapel and the two people with tired expressions. Want to do something for them. Essa didn't come home from the museum in the end last night. I'm heading for the museum before it opens today. The result is utter failure. Museum staff is screaming with joy since they're getting more visitors than they had expected, meaning they're short on signboards. There's no choice but to make it myself now that it's come to this. I head for the hardware store at the station. I then purchased wood and a forbidden entry panel. They didn't send any photo panels, so I decided to make my own. There's even encouraging barks from the Italians while I make the signboard. It was around 3 PM when I finished making the entire signboard. Tie a random string around and then head towards the chapel. There are more chapel tourists here than yesterday. Naturally, Estel and Mort seem to be more tired as well. Sorry for being
来
late.
てくれただけでもありがたいです。
Estel has a dark look of fatigue. I made this. It's not very good looking since I made it myself though. I set up each signboard in front of the doors at the altar. This should make it a little easier on us.
ありがとうございます、朝霧さん。
助かりました。
The two of them face each other, smiling a little with relief. I'll watch over here, so please get some rest.
お言葉に甘えさせていただきます。
Moritz heads further in. Two of us gaze at the chaplain's silence. Sorry.
どうして謝るのですか？
For being an earthling, I
謝ってい
guess.
ただかなくても結構です。あなたが彼らと違うのは分かっていますから。
Thanks. It's not like they mean any harm.
それも分かっています。
They don't mean any harm. There is harm being done. I can see the stress and fatigue on the side of Estel's face. She's having strangers rudely intruding into the house that she's been living in. I can't blame her. Come to help up every day starting from tomorrow.
そんな、あなたの負担になってしまいます。
True, but I want to help out.
あなたが責任を感じることはないのよ。
You're gonna refuse my help if you dislike it. But I don't need your thoughtfulness. Estel stares at my face.
よろしくお願いします。
Leave it to me. That's only until the situation settles
誰も
down.
永久就職しろとは言っていません。
I began to travel to and from the chapel like this. It was Maya's birthday that day, but I proceeded towards the chapel during the day. We're patrolling not inside the chapel but outside it. There are cigarette butts and empty cans on the roadside. Food debris and paper trash littered flower beds. To make matters worse, the flowers are quite damaged too. Estel bites down her lips tightly while looking at those. Honest to God, at this point I would just go to the museum, listen up, tell the visitors this exhibit is restricted to the museum. There may be a chapel next to this museum, but they are not actually collaborating with the museum. So, we would appreciate it if you did not cause any trouble for them, since we have received a complaint about excessive littering in their garden after a bunch of museum visitors came to their chapel after their visit. There were a lot of calls that day. Could work on other things due to the calls in short spans of time.
ですから、戦争の問題については触れないことにしておりますので、政治的な意図はありません。ただのレクリエーションです。学生の企画していることですから、申し訳ありませんが取材は。
The contents of their inquiries are kind of growing worse. Inquiries about attendance and interviews are still being dealt with. They're even prying into contents of the lecture. Almost like prank calls. Good work, I'll pick it up next time.
礼拝堂宛てにかかってきた電話ですから。
Estel says that firm-heartedly, but I can tell that he is exhausted. Can this go on like this? It's Sunday. The chapel is filled with people. There are people who usually come to worship in addition to many numbers of earthling visitors. Courtyard looks like some kind of bizarre sight. I spot Karen amongst the crowd of people. She was staring at the courtyard from the highest point of the cloister. Karen.
こんにちは、達也くん。
噂には聞いていましたが、良い状況ではないですね。
Yeah, it's especially bad today.
エステルは大丈夫ですか？
She's pretty beat. Cotton grinds her teeth. Want to do something about this, but he can't forbid them from entering.
そうですね。そもそもの意義に反します。
Cotton had explained the meaning why they built the chapel beside the museum one day. It was constructed next to the museum on purpose so that Earthlings could drop by. It certainly is accomplishing its purpose, but...
ここまで急激な変化があるとは予測していませんでした。不覚です。
At any rate, let's get through the day first. We're all pretty much used to this from the weekdays.
ずっとエステルのそばにいてくれたのですね。ありがとう、達也くん。
No, to mention it. Getting a straight praise from Cotton is a little embarrassing. Clang clang. Bell rings. Let's watch over the entrance then.
はい。頑張って。
Estel opens the entrance to the chapel around the time I arrived there.
本日は日曜の礼拝となります。信者でない方も見学することはできますが、できるだけ信者様優先でお願いいたします。
Thank you for your cooperation. The group of what seemed to be Lunarians start to move. The seats in the chapel become filled up in the blink of an eye. There are many Earthlings mixed in since the seats don't normally fill this fast. It's a disaster how we can't differentiate them from outside appearance. So we somehow managed to accommodate everyone and fill the seats. The place quickly tenses up when Estel stands by the altar. Then she quietly starts her lecture. Her voice is clear as usual. By no means is her voice loud, but you can easily hear each of her words clearly. Combined with the solemn atmosphere of the chapel, her sermon passes down like it's sinking into our bodies. She's a person of God, after all. Remember things that should be obvious. The front door opens all of a
すい
sudden.
ません。
The idiotic voice is way too out of
礼
place.
拝やってるのってここですか？
そうなんじゃない？みんな座ってるし。
It's a pair of couples dressed however they pleased, messing around. I have a headache. Chap starts to stir.
皆さんお静かに。席を譲り合ってお座りください。空いていない場合は申し訳ありませんが、また。
せっかく来たんですけど。
逆に対してそれはないでしょ？
How did it come to this? I have no idea what they're talking about. Stirring grows louder.
これだから地球人は
I hear a voice from somewhere. That's what sparks it. The chapel is involved in tumult. Lunarians, Earthlings, they pronounce those two words with hostility and a shout. Even though nobody should have wished for this. They're attacking the other parties with words like it's natural to do so. What about Estel? I glanced at Estel at the altar. She was staring at the seats like she was trying to cut off from the noise. Can't begin to guess what's going on in her mind. Estel quietly raised her hand.
静かに。
Estel's voice pierces through the chapel. A deafening silence swoops
地
down.
球人の方はお引き取りください。
Her voice was imperative. Get out. That's what it felt like. The rest might leave without question asked if one person leaves. This place will settle down once that happens. I get up and leave the chapel behind. I hear the sound of people getting up one by one behind me. People are coming out of the courtyard in succession. There's no doubt that I'm looking at all the Earthlings. There isn't an even person anywhere if we do it like this. But it's strange since they were hurling abuses at the other party in the situation they were in just now. Now then! I want to talk with Estel right away, but the Lunarians in the chapel will probably think of me as an unacceptable Earthling. It will be better to not approach the chapel until the heat dies down. Walk away from the chapel when I think that. Returning to the chapel around noon. People who seem to be Earthlings are walking around in the courtyard like the incident from this morning never happened.
朝霧さん、
Moritz calls out to stop me when I enter the chapel. Moritz?
礼拝ではありがとうございました。
え？
あの時、朝霧さんが率先して出て行ってくれなかったら、喧嘩になっていたかもしれないとエステルが言っていました。
That's so. I'm happy I was able to help. So where's Estel? Let's see her.
疲れていたようでしたので、部屋で休ませています。
Oh, really? I'll come by again then.
いえ、ぜひ顔を見せてやってください。
Sasagi, Estel.
どうぞ。
Estel has turned towards her desk. Her desk are most likely notes that she's putting together for the lecture, carelessly placed in several volumes of books. I have a bad feeling about this. Sorry for visiting while you're resting.
良いのですよ。
Estel turns towards me. Her face is clearly showing signs of strain.
どうぞ座ってください。
She suggests me to a luxurious chair. Thanks.
今日はおかげさまで助かりました。
Nah, it wasn't a big deal. You're really dignified too. Meant it as a joke, but she doesn't
少
smile.
し疲れました。
I don't blame you. Estel lowers her
これ以上
gaze.
地球人を信頼できません。いえ、信頼していく自信がありません。
Estel says that like she was hissing. Unfortunately, I understand what she's feeling. She cannot possibly feel like she's doing something for the sake of her Earthlings right now. Chapel was trampled by Earthlings, but she put up with them, telling herself that they didn't mean any harm. She endured, but in the end she snapped. Estel?
今度の見学会ですけど、
Estel speaks those words. Hold on. My classmates weren't within the group of Earthlings during today's service.
分かっています。
Agree that the last couple who came were the worst. I have no intention of pleading for them. However, my classmates aren't bad.
それも分かっています。でも理屈ではないのです。
Would it be for her sake if we cancel the tour visit? I have a vague feeling. She won't start up anymore if she gives up on the tour visit. It's kind of foreboding that I sense. Can't you give it a little more thought since you've done all this preparation? It's easy to cancel it, but it's difficult to retract it once you do. Try thinking on it a bit more. If the conclusion still doesn't change, I won't stop you. Estel rests her chin on her hands and on the desk and looks at me.
考えても結論が変わる可能性は低いですよ。
Still, I don't
意
mind.
外に強情なのですね。わかりました。少し考えましょう。
Estel smiles slightly. Great. I'm going back to the chapel then.
ええ、よろしくお願いします。
Esty tidies up the notes on her desk. I'll get the phone too, so please rest up.
ありがとう。
There are figures of tourists in the chapel like usual. Moritz.
ああ、エステルの様子はどうでしたか？
She wanted to cancel the tour visit.
おや、でもその口ぶりですと思いとどまらせてくれたようですね。
Probably only bought some time.
いえ、よかったと思います。見学会の中止は彼女にとってプラスにならない気がしますから。
I think so too, and I managed to persuade her.
やはり朝霧さんに言ってもらってよかった。
What smiles gently. Why didn't you tell Estel yourself if that's how you feel?
今回の企画はエステルと朝霧さんが考えたものでしょう。
That's true.
それに面と向かっては言いにくいこともあるものですよ。
Considering that Moritz is worried about Estel, I have a feeling that he's taking a step back. This is what it's like when you're not actually related by blood. Moritz Sabelfront!
ようこそおいでくださいました。
いえ、こちらこそ遅くなってしまい申し訳ありませんでした。エステル君は？
部屋におりますので呼んでまいります。
エステル・フリージアです。
突然呼び出してすまなかった。
Estel opens her eyes widely when she sees the ID the foreign affairs chief has on his chest.
面接では若い者が失礼をしたようだね。
いえ、
Estel glances at me. She probably fears that I know what happened during her interview. That consideration is just like her.
それでどういったご用向きでしょう？
単刀直入に申し上げよう。外務局で働いてもらいたい。
Estel raises her eyebrows. Like that, she doesn't budge an inch. Just what kind of thoughts are rushing through her head? She entered the academy with Cotton as her goal. She has a beautiful face and figure in addition to a grace that are at top of her class. She stands out even if she doesn't want to. The academy gathers future children that they expect a great deal from and sons from respectable families. It is a place in which clumps of prideful children are engaged in fierce competition. You could say that it's rather natural for Estel to attract critical looks. Despite that, she kept enduring and continued to achieve high grades. She defied the science around her by means of her own ability. Then she graduated. However, suffering did not end there. A wall of which she couldn't overcome with ability blocked her way. She had broken away from what she had clung to. Right now, she is being shown a bright path again. Finally, Estel.
理由を聞かせてください。
君の実力を買ってのことだよ。
実力？外務局は実力だけでは渡っていけない場所だと伺っ。
そういうことも含めた実力だよ。
あの頃と私は何も変わっていませんが。
変わったと思うが？
わかりません。
わからないか？
はい。
君はカレン様と親しくさせていただいているようだね。
はい。
それにピーナス様とも面識があるようだ。
Estel stares straight ahead. Can you hear the foreign affairs chief's voice?
私としてはぜひとも君にうちで働いてもらいたいのだが。
少し考えさせてください。
She finally speaks up in that
エス
manner.
テル。よかろう。後ほど返事を聞きに来よう。
すみません。
いや、構わんよ。しかしね、人と人とのつながりも実力のうちだ。君ほどの人ならそれは分かっているだろ
申
う。
し訳ありません。
責めているわけではないよ。それではまた後ほど。
Foreign affairs chief leaves my room. The noise of the oil lamp is burning streams through the
モー
room.
リッツ様がご手配くださったのですか？
偶然だよ。博物館のセレモニーに出席するために地球へ登ってこられたらしい。ここにお誘いしたのは私だが、その先は外務局長のご判断だ。
そうでしたか。
The tone sounded
エ
unconvinced.
ステル、これはまたとない機会だよ。
わかっています。わかっていますが。
Estel pushes down on her
少し
brow.
考えさせてください。
Having said that, she leaves the room. Another view end. The museum is closed today. There's nobody in the chapel grounds due to that. Looks like we'll be able to relax after such a long time. Estel is inside the temple. Good afternoon.
こんにちは。
It's nice that it's quiet today, isn't it?
ええ、今朝から誰も来ていません。
So the chapel has days where it's closed too, huh?
礼拝堂に休館日があったら困ります。
Part of Estel didn't seem cheerful as she says that with a smile. Might be my imagination, but did something happen?
分かってしまいますか。
Well, I am always looking at you in a way.
すみません。
She hangs her head down without paying attention to my embarrassing remark. Looks like something really did happen. Can you tell me about it?
座りましょうか。
Okay. Stand beside her. Stare at Estel's grasped hands on top of her knees. She's sorting out her feelings. Wait patiently for her to speak.
私が教団の外務局を目指していたことは前にお話ししたかと思います。
Yeah, you did. I specialize in communicating with the royal palace at the nobles, if I remember. Estel nods.
先日そこで働かないかと誘われたのです。
I'm unconsciously at a loss for words. In other words, this means that Estel is returning to the moon. Part of me isn't aware yet. about her returning back to the moon again, since she had just come to Earth. Sure that because of the present relationship between the moon and the Earth, it will be difficult to meet again once we separate. If that's what she wishes for, then it's an occasion, isn't it?
わかりません。
That's the whispers that after a long silence. You said that you were aiming for that place.
はい。ずっと目指していました。ですが、
Estel slowly starts to talk. To sum it up, she was rejected from the Foreign Affairs Bureau once on the basis that she didn't have any special connections. Then a big shot from the Foreign Affairs Bureau, who visited this place the other day, strongly encouraged her to join them. In other words, they judged that she satisfies both the connection side and the ability side. Appears that the big shot pointed out that she has relationships with Cotton and Fina when it comes to connections.
いくら勉強しても得られなかったものが、突然転がり込んできたんです。私は何もしていないというのに。そしたら、急に馬鹿らしくなって。自分は何を躍起になっていたんだろうって。
Estel has her hands on her forehead with her eyes cast down. Estel, who usually doesn't show her feelings, her weak side. But right now she seems to be as fragile as a sandcastle. I want to encourage her somehow. Fina had once told me that when you're lost in a maze, you should return to the starting point.
フィーナ様が。
Why did you want to go to the Foreign Affairs Bureau?
私は。
Silence flows on for a while. Eventually,
私はカレン様のようになりたかった。外務局に行って自分の力を、実力さえあれば生まれなど関係ないと証明したかった。
and this means that you didn't long after the contents of the Foreign Affairs Bureau job.
完全にそうとは言えませんが。
That's probably on the mark to a certain extent. That's why she's not happy about passing it away, that doesn't show her ability. You chose the Foreign Affairs Bureau because it's an elite department. She doesn't respond, but looks like she's affirming to me. In the case, I think she has a distorted frame of mind. However, I don't feel like blaming her. No matter how much effort she put in, it doesn't change her personal history of being an orphan. Her past of how she doesn't know her parents will always follow her around in life. Something that she can't do much about. It's tough when the others around her tell her this and that. For example, it's similar to the feelings of being told it's because you're an earthling.
たった一つの目的が消えて、私はどうすればいいのでしょう。
Estel says that like she's talking to herself. Never heard such frail words from her until now. Do you have time until you have to give your reply?
おそらく数日は。
Want to work if you carefully think about it until then? I think this choice is extremely
じっ
important.
くり考えても目的が生まれてくるとは思えません。
Goals aren't something that fall from somewhere. Find something that's hidden inside your mind. You can definitely change that into your goal.
私の中に何かがあるのでしょうか。
Sure there is. Turn back to each of your turning points. I'm responsible if I do say so myself. There's no guarantee that something like goals are necessarily buried in her. I don't know if there's anything at her starting point. Still, I can't help it. I want to encourage her.
少し考えてみます。
Don't rush it. Still not slightly. At any rate, it's going to happen to the tour visit. She had put her answer on hold a few days ago, but I don't think the tour visit is on her mind right now. I have no choice but to wait for her to cheer up and find her answer soon. Morris Zabelfront.
いかがですか？結論は出ましたか？
The man's tone is kind. It was gentle to the point of being appreciative, like it was my accomplishment.
エステルが望むのであれば、それを拒むつもりはありません。
Speak those words with heartbreaking grief. I had raised Estel like a child of my own. I can no longer differentiate her any differently. But still, I cannot change the fact that I was the one who raised her. I did not think a day like this would come. What fate to chance upon? No, in the first place, because of her ascent to Earth. Because of her having her sights on the Foreign Affairs Bureau. Because of her aspiring to become a person of God. Everything is the result of one cause. It's probably inevitable for her to come here if I think about it in that way.
では彼女に話をしなくてはなりませんね。
それについてなのですが、彼女は今精神的に不安定な状態です。自分の生まれを知ったらどうなってしまうのか、私には想像もつきません。
そうですか。
勝手な話かとは思いますが、しばらくお待ちいただけないでしょうか。決して不義理なことはしないとお約束しますので。
確かにおっしゃる通りです。彼女が地球。
Estel-Route. It's just like Tatsuya told me, I go back to each of the crossroads in my life. Why did I have my aim set on the Foreign Affairs Bureau? It's because I wanted to get back at people who sneered at me based on my past. The reality of that, no matter where I go, the fact that I don't know my parents follows me around. I want to shake free from this truth. That's all. Whoops. When did I start to realize that I was different from the others around me? I don't remember the time distinctly, but I'm sure it was around when I was 4. It was then when a person who wouldn't meet me in the eye showed up. The number increased to 2 and 3 people, and I was completely isolated by the time I entered school. Simply studied like mad, wanted to achieve the kinds of grades that nobody else could say anything about. It was the only choice for me when I had realized. The fact that I could continue to oppose those around me is proof of myself. Why did I aspire to become a person of God? It's because I wanted to succeed in a position different from Karen. While I admired Karen, I also wanted to surpass her. That's why I took it upon myself to choose a different path.
エステル、お前は何のために聖職者になったのだ。
What's the shock that ran through my chest back then? I don't know. Now there's something that is caught on my chest. I don't know why that is. Try thinking about it for a while, but my head is hazy as usual. Try to switch it up.
すみませんが、そろそろ昼食を作らなくてはなりませんので。
I'll watch over here. Tatsuya says that with a gentle expression. I wonder how my chest warms up just from that.
よろしくお願いします。
I get up from my seat and head for the door leading further in. Well then, what should I make? Should I asking Moritz? Oh no! She's gonna hear! She's going to hear! Oh no! I walk down the hallway and stand in front of Moritz's room. There are voices coming from the room. Tension runs through me. Somebody had been in the chapel since this morning, but I couldn't remember them entering. Then Moritz invite them from somewhere. I find myself sneaking up, focused on my senses further into the door. Into the door.
彼女に話をしなくてはなりませんね。
それについてなのですが、彼女は今精神的に不安定な状態です。自分の生まれを知ったらどうなってしまうのか、私には想像もつきません。
そうですか。
My birthplace. Just what is Moritz talking about? I was abandoned in front of the orphanage and raised by Moritz there. Isn't that all there is to it? My heart beats violently. It's like the fuse to a bomb planted throughout my body had been lit. That's how I feel.
勝手な話かとは思いますが、しばらくお待ちいただけないでしょうか。決して不義理なことはしないとお約束しますので。
Who's he talking to anyway? Does he know something about my birthplace?
確かにおっしゃる通りです。
彼女が地球人と付き人のハーフだと知ったら、どんなにショックを受けるか。
I mean, I wasn't completely right because it's half-half. But still. At that moment, the bomb in my body exploded. My mind is filled with a booming roar. My joints are rattled in a sneer. Feels like I'm falling to pieces. I'm shaking. The ground is shaking. I'm leaning on the wall when I become aware.
誰かいますね。まさか。
The door opens.
エステル。
エステルさん。
Who is it? Oh yes, it's Moritz. The other person is someone I don't know.
失礼しました。
Try to run away. Follow my behind. How strange. I can't get up. Help me. Somebody help me. Tatsuya. Another view end. It was a short while after Estel had left. Door leading further in opens.
朝霧さん。
Moritz. When it shows up as Moritz.
すみませんが、今日はこれでお引き取りいただけますか。
Did something happen?
ええ。休養が入りまして。急な話で申し訳ありません。詳しくはまた後日ということで。
Alright. Thought it was a little odd, but I'll ask about the details later. Please give Estel my regard then. My
受けたまわり
regards
ま
then.
した。
It's morning. Boot up my PC and take a quick look at the tour visit page. The number of posts from people hoping to participate keeps on increasing. The refusal message I posted a few days ago didn't stop them.
おはようございます、達也さん。おはよ
Morning. Where's Fina?
う。本日は夜まで公務のご予定です。
See if Fina sure has it tough even though it's summer break. Seems that Fina will be returning to the moon on August 20th. The number of last-minute meetings has increased recently since she'll be going back soon.
見学会のお茶会の話ですが、
Yeah.
調理器具の買い出しも頼んでしまってよろしいですか？お菓子を作るのに普通のキッチンにはないものを使いたいので。
Sure, don't mind.
よろしくお願いします。詳しくはメモにしておきますので。そういえば、お茶会は私もサポートに入ることにしたから。
Oh, I pray that she doesn't set the death march into motion.
お兄ちゃんは今日どうするの？
I'm going to the chapel.
最近毎日だね。昨日もお楽しみのようでしたし。
Does it seem that way?
見える。
Chapel is having a hard time. Tourists have been coming since the opening of the museum's special exhibition.
礼拝堂に見るところなどありましたか？
Earthlings are curious about everything related to the moon. Wouldn't you want to take a look if there was an Earthling chapel?
ああ。
Mia claps her hands.
毎日観光客の相手してて、見学会の準備は大丈夫なの？
Well, we'll manage somehow.
頼りないな。
The problem is it occurred with Estel herself rather than the preparations. The tour visit is on the 13th. Concerning the preparations that we have to do, I hope we'll get a good to go sign from her in a few days. There was a chapel before noon. Tourists are walking around here and there in the courtyard. Good afternoon.
これは朝霧さん。昨日は申し訳ありませんでした。
Moritz's voice sounds languid. Seemed tired. Did something happen?
ええ。よろしければ、エステルに会ってやってください。ここは私が見ますので。
Something happened to Estel.
病気などではないのですが。
Moritz casts his eyes down in pain. Excuse me. I rush towards Estel's room. There's no response, even though I knocked. Is she not there? I felt my sense of urgency and turned the doorknob. Estel's seated in a chair, staring out the window. She has no expression in the empty atmosphere around her, to the point of making me hesitate to call out. To say that she lost her spirit rather than saying that she's feeling depressed would be more of an appropriate way to express this. Estel?
あなた。
Estel turns towards me. She didn't look to be doing well, but it's not a relief just by seeing her move. Has something happened? Estel casts down her gaze. Then movement stopped just like that.
私の生まれが分かったんです。
He speaks out after a few minutes pass. Well, you were born?
実の両親のことです。
I'm not sure if this is a happy occasion, but from what I can see from Estel's mood, it doesn't seem to be very good news. Can I hear the specifics? Estel nods.
私は付き人ではありませんでした。
Huh? My thoughts come to a standstill for an instant. Then your parents are Earthlings? Estel shakes her head slightly. And she says this while showing me a self-mocking smile.
ハーフです。父親は地球人、母親は付き人。何でも高貴な身分の方だったようです。
She's a mix between a Lunarian and an Earthling. Existence I've never heard of before in my life. But it doesn't look like Estel has any reasons to lie about this.
今は一人にしてもらえますか？
She finally speaks up in an understandable volume. I don't know what I should say to her. There's nothing I can do. Okay.
ごめんなさい。
Estel smiles limply. Her chest is wrenched in pain as I clearly understand that she's forcing herself to fake a smile. I'll come by another time. Turn my back on
あ
Estel.
りがとう。
Moritz
今はそっとしておくしかありません。
appears that Moritz had guessed what happened after looking at my face. Have you always known about this, Moritz? But Moritz nods.
知っていましたが、教えるつもりはありませんでした。
Why not?
その方が彼女にかかる負担が少ないですから。
General consensus that Lunarians are not fond of Earthlings. Been told this many times. If the others knew that she was a mix between a Lunarian and an Earthling. Has something like this happened before?
あったんです。確かに。
Moritz looked up at the ceiling after he says that, like he was reflecting on something.
居住区は地球人の出入りが自由ですから。
Her real parents.
どちらとももうこの世にはいません。
That spins to this oversized problem. Worried to the point where I can't remember how much I've heard so far.
朝霧さんもお疲れになったでしょう。今日はお帰りになった方が良いのではないですか？
No, I'll work. I'm someone who gets refreshed when I'm moving around. Watch over this place, so please work on something else, Moritz.
ありがとう、朝霧さん。
Shows me a gentle smile. He has a fearless look to begin with, but he can't hide his fatigue. Moritz covered Estel's birthplace for her sake. There's no way she wouldn't suffer when faced with hardships. We guard the chapel in place of Moritz. Tourists totally unrelated to the events happening to us show up. I feel irritated, but being surrounded by them also relieves me, because I can still confirm that I belong to a normal world this way. Referring the situation is jumbled up in a normal level. On a normal level. The person I fell in love with is a Lunarian. It's extremely rare, but not unheard of. When it comes to being a mixed race, probably haven't been any precedents in these past few centuries at least. It's exactly why I want to deal with her like normal. I want to treat Estel like I always have been, not in a strange manner. I want to treat her as a man who likes her. Work at the chapel until evening, then I'm off to summons after that. Continue to work my body recklessly, and eventually the restaurant's closing hours come upon us.
今日はえらい張り切ってたね。
Suppose so. This day passed by just like that now that I think about it. The only thing I clearly remember from today is what happened in Estel's room.
あんまり無茶はしないようにね。最近毎日礼拝堂行ってるでしょ。
I have.
準備忙しいの？
Preparations pertain to the tour visit, of course. Come to think of it, I was thinking of having her decide whether she was going to cancel the tour visit today. Can Estel decide in that state? Hey, Natsuki. What would you do if I told you that the tour visit will be called off?
何を今更って叫ぶ。
She already has, though.
なんで中止？
I should explain this. Estel is exhausted from the Earth's hate. Tourists are coming to the chapel every day too, and preparations have fallen behind due to dealing with that.
なんでそういうことを早く言わないのよ。こっちも手伝いくらいには行けたのに。
I'm sorry.
まあそれはともかく、延期っていうのはなし？
I see. Could first postpone it before calling it off.
緑にも相談してみて。みんなのまとめ役は緑がやってくれると思うから。
Well, she better fucking do a job of keeping them in line as well then. Alright.
あとさ、達也は少しバイト休んだら？
え？
バイトやってて準備が間に合いませんでしたってのは、きっとみんな納得いかないよ。
Natsuki says that with a vicious look. Indeed, I would be making a fool out of myself if I called off the tour visit because of work.
それにエステルさん、きっとすごく申し訳なく思ってると思うんだ。だから、できるだけそばにいてあげるのがいいよ。
Natsuki has a slightly sad look on her face.
開いた穴は私が何とかするからさ。
She gives my shoulders a clap. Natsuki.
大丈夫、安くしとくから。
You're charging for this?
冗談冗談。水臭いわね。
I give Pops the message.
当たり前でしょ。なんで私が言うのよ。こんばんは。
Ding
こんばんは。
Family members enter in a group.
さ、テーブルつなげないと。
We bring up the matter of taking a break from work until after the tour visit to Pops at the dinner meeting. Natsuki also spoke up for me, and I got the okay signed without a hitch. I'll have to give Natsuki my thanks again after the tour visit ends. It's before noon. Try calling YoaMae in regards to postponing the tour visit. She's not picking up. She's still sleeping.
はい、遠山さんですよ。
Words trailed off there at the end. Were you sleeping?
寝てない。平気。
Sound like you're sleeping. I hear the sound of something being smacked.
大丈夫。もう来た。
Sorry about this.
いえ。で、どうしたの？デートのお誘い？
No, it's about the tour visit.
わかってますから。それで？
The truth is, Estel has fallen sick. We might not finish preparing in time.
本当？なになに？準備ってそんなにきつかったの？
Well, to put it simply, it's summer exhaustion. The temperature on the moon is managed on a constant level, so it seems that the Narians are weak against temperature change.
なるほど。
Also, the chapel has turned into a sightseeing area, so she's tired from people coming every day.
大丈夫なの？
Well, presumably.
弱いな。一緒に海で手つないでイチャイチャした仲でしょ？
True, but wait, how do you know about that?
貸切温泉に行ったんじゃないんだから、そりゃ誰か見てるっしょ。
I suppose that's true. She has sharp ears, though. Anyway, can you postpone
そうだ
this?
ね。いつまで延期するの？何回も延期してるとテンション下がっちゃうから、一発でお願いしたい気分。
Let me think. Fina only has until the 20th, so that's the limit, I guess.
フィーナさんが抜けちゃったらしんみりしちゃうからね。
Which means postponing it by a week is the best we can do. I have to ask Fina. I have to ask about Fina's schedule as
フィ
well.
ーナさん忙しいんじゃないの？
Oh no, until I ask her personally. I'll ask her about it, so I'll give you another call.
うん、お願い。
Hang up for the moment, then hurry along to Fina's room. Fina, there's something I want to ask you. Do you have a minute?
どうぞ。
Excuse me. Fina's sitting on the sofa when I enter. There's a red string entangled in Fina's hands. What are you doing?
あやとりというものをミヤから教わっていたのよ。
Ah,
マイさんから教わったのです。
I see. Mia is standing beside the sofa away from Fina's side. She's in her usual order, a waiting posture.
それで聞きたいことというのは？
Fina straightens herself out. To tell you the truth, we were thinking of postponing the tour visit.
何があったのかしら。
The thing is, it pains me that I can't tell her 100% of the truth. Estel has fallen sick and we might not finish preparing in time.
そうでしたか。
But I would very much like for you to participate, so I've come to ask you until when you're still able to take part.
何日くらい遅らせるのが理想的なのかしら。
As much as I can, I suppose.
そうね。
Fina heads towards the desk and flips through a notebook.
ミヤ、こちらへ。はい。
Mia joins in, and two of them start a serious examination of the schedule. It appears that she doesn't have a day that she's completely free.
その会議は欠席されない方がよろしいかと。このレセプションはどうかしら。
Two of them continue their meeting. After a while,
もういいわ。達也、18日でどうかしら。18日はお土産のお買い物が。見学会が何よりの思い出になるでしょ。
Fina returns to the moon on the 20th. She left the 18th free to go shopping for souvenirs to bring back to the moon. But isn't that a very important day to them? Are you sure about this?
ええ、構わないから言ったのよ。私も留学最後の思い出として見学会にはぜひ参加したいの。
Fina has a serious look on her face as she says that. It seems that she has strong feelings for the tour visit herself. Thank you, Fina.
いいえ。でも18日は最後のチャンスになります。この日以外はおそらく難しいわ。
Alright, I'll try to do the best that I can.
よろしく。
Suppose I call Toyama then. I bow and return to my own room. Fina went as far as to cancel her plans to free her schedule up. I absolutely have to make this a success this time. She said she'll only be free on the 18th. Call Toyama and inform her of the schedule.
なるほど。でも18って金曜日でしょ。朝霧くんはバイトじゃないの？
I'm taking work off until after the tour visit.
おー、アクティブだね。じゃあ18日で決まりね。
Please get in touch with everyone else.
任せといて。
I received promising
朝
words.
霧くんは朝霧くんにしかできないことを頑張って。
Yeah, I know.
じゃあね。
She hangs up. So I managed to gain time. The grade of Estel would get better soon. At any rate, I'll do the things only I can do, one at a time. I'll inform them of Fina and Mia's schedule change to start with. This place is filled with tourists like usual. I head towards the chapel while picking up fallen trash. Just like yesterday, Mortis is the only one who is handling the tourists in the chapel. Good afternoon.
こんにちは、朝霧さん。エステルでしたら部屋ですよ。
Sure. Speaking of which, about the tour visit. Inform him of how it's been postponed.
そうですか。
Mortis has a complicated look on his face.
なんとか中止にならずに済めば良いのですが。
I'll try my best. When it comes down to it, there's something that Estel and I had started, so I think this depends on our strength.
ええ。応援することしかできませんが、成功を祈っています。
Thank you very much. I'll go see Estel then. Come back here to help
あ
later.
りがとう。私もこちらには慣れてきましたから、ゆっくりしていただいて大丈夫です。
Right, thank you. Estel is seated on her bed, staring at the window absent-mindedly. She had left her room since I came here yesterday. The atmosphere in the room is stagnant enough for me to think of it thinking that way. The room is quite hot since the window isn't open. Good afternoon.
こんにちは。
Her voice is weak. Let's open the window. Estel nods slightly. Fresh air streams into the room when I open the window. It's not really cool, but the fresh air alone brightens up the atmosphere of the room a little. It's better to let in some ventilation every once in a while. Say that as I sit in the usual chair.
忘れていました。考え事をしていると、いつの間にか時間が過ぎてしまって。
So the things were you thinking about? Estel lowers her gaze. Sorry, it's hard to talk about.
いえ、そういうことではないのです。ただ、言葉にできないというか。今までの自分は何だったんだろうって、頭の中がずっと痺れているような感じなんです。
Was it that great of a shock to her? Nothing good will come out of rushing things at a time like this. You don't need to force yourself. Take it easy and think about it carefully.
ありがとう。
Transient smile floats on top of Estel's face. She'll worry me more than necessary by showing me such a smile. Cheer up. Approach Estel and take her hands. Though it's summer, her hands are cold. I wrap her hands up with both of
温
mine.
かい。
Estel quietly closes her eyes. I hope to soften her shock, and for only a little. Even if only by a little thing it was. Yeah. As Zimbly continued to warm her hands while praying over and over again for such things.
達也
Tears flow from Estel's closed eyes, roll down her white cheeks.
すみません
Estel gently removes my hand and walks to the front of her drawer. She then takes out the handkerchief from the drawer and pushes it against the corner of her eyes. So she doesn't want me to see her like this.
今日はこれで帰っていただけませんか
Estel says that with her back still turned to me.
甘えてしまいそうなので
I don't mind if you do. In fact, I hope she'll depend on me if she wants to.
ダメです
Estel holds her own arms. She sure is a stoic person. She probably thinks that this isn't a good time to be spoiled. This still is a little time for me to ask her about things. Alright. I'll be in the chapel, so don't hesitate to come if you need something. Leave Estel's room in accordance to her words.
どうでしたか
Seems like she's still in great shock.
そうでしたか。なんとか持ち直してくれればよいのですが。
Mortis absentmindedly shifts his focus to the tourists.
朝霧さん、
Yes.
生みの親と育ての親、どちらと生活するのが彼女のためになると思いますか
I heard that her birth parents have already passed away, though.
ええ。正確には親類の方です。
She's suggesting that idea. I think the one Estel wishes for will do.
でも、人は自分の願望通りに動くとは限りません。
That's true, but Estel's feelings for Moritz is he concerned that she'll stay behind with him. This is different from the problem of real parents and such, but my family composition isn't normal either. My parents are already gone. My little sister and my female cousin are the only ones I have left.
そうでしたか。
Despite that, I think everyone managed to get by without regard for appearance because we're simply doing what we wish to do. No matter what happens, Estel will be the one who will regret it. I want her to honestly choose the path that she wishes for.
私もそう思っています。離れることになるとしたら、それは寂しいですが。
You've always lived together with her, haven't you?
ええ。彼女が幼い頃から。
I'm sure it'll be fine. It seems like she's always worried about you, too. Moritz stares at a point on the wall. Can't tell if he's happy or depressed. Simply sensed that complex emotions are swirling inside his mind. Speaking of which, when did Estel realize that she was an orphan?
はっきりとは分かりません。物心つくまでは、自分の境遇に気づいていなかったと思います。
She slowly began to come in contact with society since then, and she found out that her own environment is different from the others around her. It's probably a reasonable way to think about it. In that case, I think you're someone who's no different than a real parent to her.
そうかもしれませんね。
A smile floats up to Moritz's face. Someone like me who only has thirds of life experience compared to him. I don't really know how he feels.
朝霧さん、これからもエステルのそばにいてあげてください。
Moritz tightens his expression as he says that. Yes, that's what I plan to do.
彼女が今後どういった判断をするかは分かりません。ただきっと彼女はあなたを必要としていると思います。
Isn't Moritz expecting too much of me? So I feel. She certainly doesn't seem to hate me, but I'm not sure if I'm necessary to her. Setting aside my romantic emotions for her, just how much can I do for her? I'm not sure how much I can do for her, but...
気負うことはないかと思います。ただ、話し相手になってくだされば、それで大きな支えになると思います。
I understand. Either way, I don't intend to leave her alone now. Just a matter of the tour visit too. Most of all, I want to see her smile again. The things that only I can do. I prepare for the tour visit during the evening at my house. During the day, I head to the chapel while purchasing the kitchen equipment that Mia had asked for. Good afternoon.
どうも、朝霧さん。
As usual, Moritz is the only one in the chapel. Is Estel still in her room?
ええ。会ってあげてください。
Right. Estel is staring outside as always. Seems like it's lost in time, as if she's cut off from the world. Good afternoon.
こんにちは、達也。
She called me by my name. It's unusual for you to call me by my name.
すみません。
I don't dislike it, so I don't mind.
そうですか。
Yeah, feels like we've gotten closer.
そうかもしれませんね。
Just looks out the window again. This greenery outside is thick and fragrant. It's a vitality-filled summer scene. In contrast with this room, it's dried up. There's a lack of color. Some cold wind blew through. How are you feeling?
よくわかりません。
Which means that she's the same as ever. Have you been properly eating?
ええ、
Judging from her slightly worn-out cheeks, I can immediately tell that she's lying. But it probably won't improve things if I told her to eat. Please take care of your body.
はい。
Is there anything that I can help you with?
今は放っておいてください。
She quickly refuses me. No matter what you're worried about, you can tell me about it.
悩んでなどはいないのかもしれません。
Can you tell me about it?
ただ、何もわからないのです。真っ白な平原に放り出されたみたいで。どこから来たのか、どこに行けばよいのか、わからないのです。
She's still alright, she's lost in a maze. Because she can return to the starting point. What should I do if she's thrown out into the middle of nowhere? It's a feeling that I've never experienced before. About wanting to do it my way all the time. Though my logic towards that is thin, it does exist. She might not have something like that.
ともかく、今は一人にしてください。
At the stairs at the floor. Alright. However,
はい、
I'll tell you this many times, but please eat a proper meal.
わかりました。
There. Let out a sigh as I come out of the hallway. Ethel's situation isn't quite changing for the better. Feels like I'm making small progress little by little, but even that is negligible. Hope she'll cheer up soon. That's above all else, of course, but also people looking forward to the tour visit. Want her to get better within the postponement date of the tour visit if possible. Work until sunset dealing with tourists and then prepare for the tour visit afterward. I visit a museum on my way home in order to borrow a table used for the lunch party. Turns out we can. All that's left is manpower to transport it, but I can probably manage alone if I take my time. I'm back! Mia drops what she's holding onto the floor in a surprise for some reason. Origami?
マイさんに地球の文化を教えていただくことになっているのです。
You see, there isn't any origami on the moon.
はい。一度覚えれば月でも簡単にできることですから、ぜひにと姫様がおっしゃいまして。
It's good. Good luck then.
ありがとうございます。
She bows down energetically. By the way, how's dinner looking?
準備はできていますので、もう少々お待ちください。
Having set that, Mia enters Fina's room. Feels like she's hiding something, but it's probably better not to ask. Importantly, I sure am hungry. Friday. Week until the tour visit after the postponement draws near. Estel's condition hasn't changed today either. The impatient feeling that I have to do something about this continues to grow. Six days left until the tour visit. The equipment for the lecture, the ingredients for the lunch party, the kitchen utensils and other materials have been gathered for the most part. The only thing left is to prepare the contents of the lecture. In other words, the part that Estel is in charge of. However, Estel still continues to stare out of the window without a word. Seems that she's lost some weight too. She'll ruin her health at this rate. Want to do something. But I don't have a clue what to do. What to do myself. After allowing time for the Sunday service to finish, I head to the chapel today.
大丈夫？なんか疲れてるんじゃない？
I asked me with a worried look on in the morning. I'm fine. So that I'm not tired, but even though Estel is having a hard time, I don't want to be the only one who gets off easy. I'm off then. Ah! Toyama was standing there when I opened the front door.
びっくりさせないでよ。寿命縮んだよ、絶対。返して返して返して。
Mine shortened too, so please call it even.
しょうがないな。あ、遠山さん。イエホー、マイ。例のやつできてる？バッチリですよ。
What are you talking about?
乙女の事情。
Girl thing, yeah.
なんで私を見るのよ。傷つくでしょ？渡すものがあるから、朝霧くんはちょっと待ってて。
Me?
正しくはエステルさんに。
Could it be? Toyama and Mai going to the house, leaving me in a state of confusion. It's like actual like 100 fucking origami cranes.
お待たせー。
Those two seem in high spirits for some
じ
reason.
ゃあこれをエステルさんに渡してね。クラスのみんなからね。
She hands me a large paper bag. It's not heavy. What is it? From everyone? Try to look inside.
見ないの。後のお楽しみってことで。どうせエステルさんと一緒に見られるんだからいいでしょ。
Well, I suppose.
全く否定しませんよ、この子は。恥ずかしい兄ですみません。
Mind your own business. I'm off then.
ねえ朝霧くん、エステルさんの体調はどう？
It's not doing bad, but not good either. Preparations are progressing, so I think we can manage somehow once she gets better.
そうなんだ。じゃあ効果があるといいな。
Yeah, it's the paper cranes. What are you giving Estel, Toyama?
それは開けてからのお楽しみだって言ったでしょ。そうそう。きっと一緒に開けた方が楽しいよ。
Fine. I'm taking off then.
いってらっしゃい。いってらっしゃい。
I greet Moritz like usual, then head towards Estel's room. Good afternoon, Estel.
こんにちは。
Estel was staring out of the window, slowly turns towards me. Backlight profiling Estel's figure is weary. Hardly sense any energy from her. I have this for you today.
なんでしょう。
I haven't looked inside either. I handed her the paper bag Toyama gave me. Estel opens the bag without much interest. Just what'll come out. Contents of the bag slowly start to appear as Estel lifts it up. Ah. What appears is a crane made of paper. And it wasn't only just one. There are numerous cranes attached to several strings. It's 1,000 origami cranes. Is everyone in class fault these?
これは
Estel stares curiously at the thing she had brought out. Does this culture not exist on the moon? It's 1,000 origami cranes.
千羽鶴。
It's a gift for sick people close to them in hopes that they'll get better soon. The paper folded birds are known as cranes, and there are 1,000 of them tied together.
千
Estel opens her eyes wide. When I had to discuss the postponement of the tour visit with Toyama last time, I told her why Estel hasn't been feeling well. That's why Toyama planned to make the 1,000 origami cranes. It's most likely that the origami Mia was folding was one of the ones that she had folded with Fina and Mai. They believed in makeshift reason and everyone folded cranes. I feel apologetic, but at the same time, feelings of gratitude surge up.
早く元気になってください。3年1組、クラスメート一同。
Estel reads the message
ク
card.
ラスメート。
Estel opens hers as she whispers that.
今日は何日ですか？
It's the 13th. Estel holds back her mouth. Come to think of it, I haven't told Estel about the postponement of the tour visit.
今日が約束の日でしたね。
Estel gently brushes the 1,000 origami crayons.
私こそが見学会を中止にしようとしていたというのに、こんなものを作って。
Something shines at the corner of Estel's eye. Can't find the words I just say to her. I can't tell that everyone's feelings had reached her. Feel that should be enough. Estel, tour visit isn't over yet.
どういうことですか？
It was my decision, but I postponed the tour visit until the 18th. You fell sick and seemed to have fallen behind on your preparations. That's why everyone made the 1,000 origami cranes in hopes that you'd get better soon.
本当ですか?
Estelle looks at me with a look of disbelief. Hold on, I need to like jump back real quick because it looked like her background changed.
本当ですか?
Yeah, there was like a weird like fucking aura thing that just kind of like vanished. Whatever the fuck that was. Hold on.
本当ですか?
Yeah, there's like a slight lighting change. Estelle looks at me with a look of disbelief. Ah, that's right. You can still make it in time. Just give it some thought. Estelle lost 1,000 origami cranes once more in
わ
her
かりま
arms.
した.
I replies with that. Work for the day ends and I leave the chapel behind. There's a small silhouette in the courtyard. It's Wreath. What's up?
エステル、どうしたの?
She asks me this bluntly. Seems she kind of wasn't feeling well.
そう。
Are you worried?
モーリッツが作ったご飯より、エステルの作ったご飯の方が美味しい。それだけ。
So I say, is she worrying in her own way? Or is this really a problem with food? I can't tell. I think she's gotten a little better, so don't worry.
わかった。
Wreath nods and then disappears into the cloister. Can't tell what she's thinking as usual. There's 4 days remaining until the toll visit. All the preparations, except the lecture, are just about finished. However, I'll continue to watch over Estel silently and place the essential role to this. Even though there are 4 days left until the visit, looks like tomorrow we'll separate the deadline based on the progress of her lecture preparations. In other words, the tour visit will practically be called off unless I receive an answer from her tomorrow. Does she have some kind of plan? I arrived at the chapel with a heavy heart. The finale of the museum's special exhibit was yesterday. Thought the chapel tourists would disappear thanks to that, but I guess that they haven't completely diminished yet. Probably be coming bit by bit every day from now on. Good afternoon.
朝霧さん、こんにちは。昨日は千羽鶴というものをいただいたそうで。
Yeah, it was for my classmates.
よろしければ、私が礼を言っていたとお伝えください。
Alright. Truthfully, it would have been nice if everyone had come here, though.
見学会の件ですね。どうですか、エステルの様子は。
I felt that she looked happy to some extent yesterday, but she hasn't told me whether she'll do the tour visit as it stands.
そうですか。
Considering her preparations, we'll be cutting it close soon.
見通しは立っているのですか。
Not at the moment. What's grinds his teeth whenever
申し
replying.
訳ないと思っています。
But what?
エステルに生まれを知られてしまった件にしても、外務局に誘われた件にしても、すべて私が蒔いた種ですから。
Really?
ええ、この礼拝堂ではなく、別の場所で彼女の叔父と会っていれば、エステルに生まれのことを知られることはありませんでした。
Her uncle, you said.
エステルの実父の弟さんです。そもそもは、そのおじさんがエステルをここで見かけたのが始まりで。
Is that what happened?
外務局の話にしても、外務局の担当者をこの礼拝堂に呼んだのは私です。
So it was bad timing considering just the tour visit, but considering Estel's situations, I think they're both good things. Besides, we haven't seen the outcome yet. Please apologize to me after the outcome if you are to do so.
わかりました。すみません。自分が楽になることばかり考えてしまって。
It's not a problem. Morris is the one who's having the hardest time. I know the specifics, but I'm sure everything he's done is for Estel. If that had backfired on him, then Moritz should be blaming himself more than anybody else. That's why it would make it easier on himself by apologizing to me. Most importantly, Moritz's worn-out face told me everything. Come to Estel's room after a little while. She's staring silently out the window as usual. I feel that her mood has softened just a little. Good afternoon, Estel.
こんにちは。毎日すみません。
Don't worry about it. What do you think of it? The museum is closed today, so there aren't any people sightseeing. Want to take a walk outside if you don't mind? Estel looks out the window.
そうですね。気分転換に。
Estel gets out of her bed. Estel squints at the intense light outdoors.
私、
Sunlight's strong today. Let's get into the shade. Bring Estel under the roof of the cloister. Is your body holding up?
はい、大丈夫です。気持ちの整理はつきませんが。
Estel says that while she stares at the wide, light-filled courtyard reflecting the
た
sunlight.
だ、少しだけ見えてきたことはあります。
Urge her to go on, but Estel hesitates. Wait for her to speak up.
自分は外務局長と何も変わらないということです。
Estel speaks in a murmur soon after. What do you mean?
私はあなたを含めた地球人を地球人だからという理由でずっと軽蔑してきました。にもかかわらず、自分にとって都合が良くなれば彼らの優しさを受け入れています。
We're talking about the 1,000 origami crayons?
はい。今までの私なら地球人の作ったものなどいらないと突き返すべきでしょう。
She's as stoic as ever. Estel sure is stubborn.
何がおかしいのですか。
She glares at me head on. It's been a while since I've seen that harsh side of Estel. Didn't you say who I was yourself? In other words, you're different now. Isn't that good?
よくありません。今までのことはどうするのですか。
It'll be fine if we make sure to reflect back on it.
冗談を言っているのではありません。
I'm not joking either. I should have told you a while ago, but it's strange to evaluate us, with the reason being because we're Earthlings. Shouldn't you be the one who knows the most about the hardships from the prejudice people have? Estel opens her eyes. Despite that, why do you keep having a prejudice towards Earthlings?
それは
Estel hangs her head. Recall something that Cotton had told me before.
学院に入る前はもう少し素直な子だったのですが、地球人への偏見もさほど強くはありませんでした。
Estel's arguments with those around her during her school life. Estel continued to achieve good grades in order to silence those who didn't think fondly of her birthplace. She turned into a vicious cycle which further increased her maliciousness. Her prejudice towards Earthlings had intensified within that. Perhaps how she looked down upon Earthlings inside her mind raises relative to her own position.
皆さんは私を許してくれるでしょうか。
It'll be fine. You haven't met them in the first place. There's a funny conversation if I think about it carefully. She's worried about whether people she's never met before will forgive her. Everyone is looking forward to meeting you.
達也、あなたはわけもなくあなたを嫌い続けた私を。
Estel bites down on her lip like she was blaming herself. Those words are enough. You know that I like you, right?
達也、ありがとう。
You can hardly say that having prejudice towards people is a good thing. But I don't feel like blaming Estel. Most Lunarians have never met with Earthlings to begin with. Despite that, the great majority of Lunarians are prejudiced against Earthlings. In the end, the problem is they need a target to look down upon with a reasonable amount of prejudice. It's not so strange for Estel to have a prejudice, since she was raised on the moon. Some will agree with how Estel has a strong prejudice towards Earthlings as backlash for receiving verbal assault while growing up. I told you this before, but you can decide whether you like or hate someone after you meet them. To evaluate someone based on where they live before meeting them is strange. Estel nods to what I say. I've told her many views many times until now. This might be the first time she's listened without much resistance. Estel looks at the courtyard as usual. It really is radiant. I almost say that it's a world that I don't belong to. Eventually, Estel speaks up.
結局ずっと過去から逃げ続けていたのですね。 外務局を目指したのも、地球人を強く嫌ったのも、すべて周囲の声から逃げるためだった。
What about now?
変わっていないと思います。
She says that in a whisper. Estel, I'm grateful for your birthplace.
何を言うのです。
Estel glares at me. I wouldn't have been able to meet you if you were a normal Lunarian. So I'm thankful for your past.
過去がなければ、私はこんな風にはならなかった。
Current you is the one I like.
やめてください。
Estel turns away. Present self isn't the one who decides the rights and wrongs of your past. Karen had told me before that what's important is how proactive you live your life from now
カ
on.
レン様が。
I think Karen is saying that what kind of past you've had depends on your current feelings. I'm not saying that your past has nothing to do with this. You're who you are right now as a result of going through many experiences and having different thoughts. Maybe many painful memories, but things that are related from now on might end without getting noticed if you turn your eyes away from your past.
私は、カレン様のようにしっかりとした自分がないんです。私が私だと思っているものは、ただのマネキンのようなもので、中には何もないのです。
That's not true.
いいえ、今回のことで分かりました。今後の道筋を見失って、私は自分のスタート地点を探そうと思いました。でも、遡っても遡っても、過去に縛られた自分ばかり。最後の1ページまで行っても、そこには過去に縛られた自分しかありませんでした。私の人生は、過去に縛られた瞬間の連続なのです。
Esther spits out the things that have been pent up inside her.
私はどこかで知っていたのです。周囲に抗うことでしか、自分の存在を証明できない。一人になったら、何も残らない人間なんです。
Esther says that in a self-deprecating manner. That's not the kind of face that I want to see. Please don't say such things like once I become alone. People can't be alone that easily.
どういうことです？
You're inside the minds of many people, such as Moritz, Karin, and Wreath, aren't you? Even when you were depressed and secluded yourself in your room, everyone was worried about you. Did you know that Moritz has gotten quite skinny? He's worried about you. If you plan on being alone, you'll be inside everyone's mind. Even if you were to die, for example, you remain inside everybody's heart. I don't think you should say things like you'll become alone without regard for their feelings, that your life is a continuous moment of being bound by your past. It's a proof that you've lost sight of what's important and turned your eyes away from your past. Besides, no matter whoever else, I'm always inside my mind. If my wishes do or don't come true, even if we become separated between the moon and the earth, even if you're dead or alive, it won't change.
達也。
I'm sure you'll find something. You may not see it since it's buried under painful memories. But there should be something. It's not like you knew that you were an orphan from the moment you were born, right? Estel shakes with a twitch. According to what I heard from Moritz, Estel was at the orphanage before she learned how to walk and talk. In other words, she shouldn't have realized she was an orphan until a defined age. Think carefully about it again.
はい。
Estel says that in a very thin voice. She hangs her head down like she was overwhelmed with grief. Sort of saying nothing but presumptuous things. Pat Estel's head. She shakes her head silently. Estel, what'd you do at the tour visit?
それは。
Estel hesitates to answer. Just memories of those earthlings betraying her during some Sunday service still remain inside of her mind. I'll wait until tomorrow, including the preparatory time for the lecture. If we don't get a full answer from you tomorrow, then...
中止ですか？
Yeah. You hear the cries of cicadas from far away. A pat Estel's head many times inside the shadows of the mostly black cloister. Her hair is soft even in this heat. It felt pleasant to touch. I have no idea what she's thinking of, as usual. I told her what I wanted to say too. What's left is to see what she'll do. I'm back.
おかえり、達也。おかえりなさい。おかえりなさいませ。
The two of them gather when I return home. They seem to be expecting a report on the thousand origami cranes. I properly handed it to her.
どのように言っていましたか？
It was difficult. And she was deeply moved, though she didn't know what it was at first.
月には折り紙がないみたいですね。
ええ、素晴らしい文化だと思うわ。
鶴の他にも教えてもらいましたよ。カニが難しいんです。
I'm giving it a shot, even though it's eye level. Speaking of which, about Sunday of this week.
ストップ。その話題は見学会が終わるまでなし。
そうね。辛くなってしまうわ。
はい。当日までは楽しく生活したいです。
Sorry.
じゃあ、食事に行こっか。
そうね。
Where's Nessun?
特別展の後片付けで、今日はお帰りになれないようです。
Must be tough being the person in charge, having to clean up after preparing it. Is she gonna run into... Is Sayaka gonna run into... No, apparently not. I thought maybe Sayaka was gonna run into Estel. It's 3 days before the tour visit. The day of fate. Unless I get a good answer from her today, I'll have to announce that the visit is cancelled. Print off the schedule sheet to be distributed on the morning of the tour visit and a summary of the questions last night. The material of the actual day will be ready once I bind the 40 printouts together. As for my final touch-up, I announced that on the bulletin board the timetable and the meeting place, and write down refusals to the outsiders asking to take part. The extent of things I'm able to do is ready with this. The rest depends on Estel. Figures of tourists are mostly gone. Compared to what I thought, the job would get easier. Questions about the tour visits are increasing instead. Because it's getting closer to the appointed day. There are people who give up without objection. People who let up and treat me politely. People who can't accept it with one explanation. Angry people. There really were many different kinds of people. All I can say is that they tire me out more than the tourists.
朝霧さん、お茶はいかがですか?
Yes, thank you. Moritz brings me some iced tea around night time.
毎日来ていただいて本当にありがとうございます。
Moritz bows deeply. Please don't worry about that since I'm doing it because I want to. Conversation cuts off on that note. I hear the cries of the cicadas outside. I get the feeling that their melancholic cries make the signs of the chapel stand out all the more. Just between you and me. I'm thinking of calling off the tour visit unless I get an answer from Estel today.
そうですか。
Did Moritz predict the outcome? Casts his eyes down. Moritz seems to have been pretty worn out this past week. Felt like he was a man with a composed demeanor when I first saw him. It feels like he's a tired man living life past his middle ages. At the very least, he doesn't have the image of being a tolerant person of God.
エステルは見学会から何かを見つけ出してくれるとそう考えていました。
It'll be nice if it takes place. The voice is already like one that's given up.
実は見学会が終わったらここの責任者をエステルに譲ろうと思っていたのです。もちろん彼女が望めばですが。
Really? What about you?
私は月に帰ります。今回のことは彼女に聖職者になった意味を考えてもらう良い機会でした。
Estel told me that if Khan is going into the royal palace, then she'll become a person of God with the intention of going into the church.
そう言っていましたか。この職業は場合によっては人の人生に大きく関わる職業です。中途半端な気持ちではなってほしくないものです。
Why did you become a person of God, Moritz?
そうですね。
Moritz stares at me.
贖罪でしょうか。
Atonement.
私が聖職者になったのはもう中年になってからでしてね。 それまで世の中でいろいろやってきたことの償いをしようかと思いまして。
I want to ask about the deeds of what he's done, but not at the courage to is expected.
これでも月ではそこそこ地位のある人間だったのですよ。
Smiles with self-derision. A smile slightly overlaps with that of Estel's. The sun is starting to set. The red light penetrates through the stained glass, falling on us from above. There's a tint of pain in my chest. Do something. It would be too sad if I let the tour visit end like this. What can my current self do? I told her what I wanted to say. What's left is for me to wait for the deadline to pass. Wait. Can I extend the deadline? First place, calling it off today unless I get an answer. This is only to give Estel time to prepare for her lecture. The deadline can be delayed a bit if I could work through the preparation of the lecture to a certain extent. I don't know about the history of the church, but there's no time to argue. No matter how little knowledge I have, I can at least put Estel's notes together. Right.
どうされました？
I thought of something that I want to try. Good afternoon. May I borrow a book that's about the history of the church if you don't mind?
どうしてですか？
If I put it together in my own way, we may be able to use it when the time calls for it. Estelle looks away, still sitting on her bed. I'll try to find it on my own then. Look through the bookshelf. Doggy World is the first thing that I spot. It's nostalgic. I think I picked this up quite a long time ago. Choose a relatively related book at my own discretion a short while later. Fortunately, I don't have the time to read a lot of books. Do as much as I can. Announce the event is cancelled if I don't think it'll work out, so please tell me as soon as possible once you've made up your mind. I still doesn't answer, still looking downward. My cell phone number hasn't changed, so I turn my back towards her and head for the door. I can hear the sound of Estel gulping. See ya. Estel Frisia. Another view. Click. The door closes with a light sound. Tatsuya's presence still remains in the room, but even that gradually weakens. I suddenly feel uneasy and get up. Stand up and touch the books that Tatsuya had picked up up just now. Books that he took and the books that I touched are books about the history of the church. If anything, the one that Tatsuya took is the easier one. Tatsuya picked the right one. Think about such trivial things. It doesn't really matter. It goes without saying that I should be thinking about the problem at hand. What should I do now? I sink into my bed with a thud. I can finally see my answer now that today has come. To be more exact, one of the things Tatsuya had said cleared away the smoke from my head. Sound like you knew that you were an orphan from the moment you were born, right? Yes. There was a time when I was happy. The ground and the chapel, surrounded by fences, was my entire world. It was a time when words such as orphan didn't exist. All of my sisters were there, words who looked after us. Cotton, who brought me candy and books at times. It was an innocent world comprised of only those people. It was before I divided normal people and myself. That was when I thought about entering the church. If Cotton is going to the royal palace, then I'll go into the church. I was so young back then that I didn't think of the complexities of it. My real parents, or the parent who raised me, weren't on my mind back then. There was no greater happiness to being held by Moritz and being patted on the head by his big hand.
私もモーリッツ様みたいになりたいな。
なら学院に入ってたくさん勉強しなくちゃいけないぞ、エステル。
He sure sounds a lot more energetic there. The ceiling distorts faintly. Tears roll down my cheek. I don't know what kind of person Moritz was or what school he was like back then. Simply wanted to become a warm person like Moritz. Become a person everyone would appreciate. So honestly, all it was before my whole life was bound by my past, known as I'm an orphan. There was a time when I was provided with an unconditional reason to exist without having to fight against those around me. This is my starting point. Another view end. I returned to my room and spread out the books I borrowed without delay. This is bad. This is written with the assumption that Lunarian is reading it so I can understand some of the words. Looks like it'll take time to decipher this. However, I have no time to complain. to make some progress and ensure that ensure time for Estel to think. I secluded myself in my room without eating dinner. Been at it for 3 hours since I've returned from the chapel, and I haven't made any progress in putting it together for the most part. Started to know for the first time that it'll take time to comprehend what's written. Leaving aside the history of Earth, I was naive to think I could summarize the history of the Lunar Church. I'm sure Estel could summarize this in 30 minutes. That would be 30 minutes of work. I'll delay the deadline to call off the tour visit until 12:30 a.m. tomorrow. It's 11 p.m. My work isn't progressing in the slightest. Set a deadline in 37 minutes. That's what it feels like. Just an hour and a half, huh? Throw down my mechanical pencil and put my cell phone on top of my desk. Naturally, there are no incoming calls from Estel. I have to post that if the tour visit is cancelled and my cell phone rings before the time. Estel-Route. But a lot of time has passed since Tatsuya returned home. Moonlight is visible outside my window, illuminating the room with a pale color. It's about 2 months since I've ascended to Earth. Can't believe the light of the moon is this beautiful. Didn't realize it all.
今まで何をしていたんだろう。
Emptiness grows even more when I let out my voice. Wasn't aware of Moritz or Cotton's feelings of being worried about me, and I kept treating Tatsuya badly who patiently went along with me. What a terrible life I have. It's like the times when I could only find myself surrounded by opposition. Yes, I haven't grown at all since I've come to Earth. I've only changed my target of opposition from Tatsuya to the students around him. How foolish can I be? What could have happened to me if Tatsuya wasn't there? Having him by my side and being by his side. I'm really glad that he's there. The date will change shortly. He should be waiting. I'll quickly give Tatsuya a call and put his mind at ease. Then I have to start on the preparations for the tour visit as quickly as possible. It's 11:52 p.m. The cell phone rings. Pick up the phone after the first ring. Hello?
達也
It's Estel's voice. Can't believe it. Estel.
待っていてくれましたか
Yeah, I was planning on waiting until 12:37 a.m.
その37分は何ですか
I finished summarizing the textbook after I got home, which cut the amount of time you'd work by about 37 minutes.
どういう目安になっているのです
It's good enough since I got a call from you today anyway. What about the tour visit then?
やりましょう全力で
Thank goodness. Sniff my nose a little.
心配をかけてすみませんでした
No, it's fine now. I'll have to start preparing at once.
大まかな資料の制作は私がします達也はできた資料をプロジェクターで出力できるようにしていただけますか
I understand.
では明日の朝から作業を始めましょう
Yeah, we'll do it later. Conversation pauses. Tell that Estel's trying to say something on the other end of the receiver. What's she trying to say?
達也
Yeah?
あなたがそばにいてくれて本当によかった
Funny, this scene, like, oh no, the appointed time is drawing close, happens, and I look at the time, and it is exactly midnight. She hung up in no time flat.
なんか携帯見て笑ってるよまあいい覗き見はいけないと思うわ見学会はどうなったんでしょうか
It'll happen, that's what it'll be, you peeking so-and-sos. Anyways, I'll be right back. I will decide if I'm gonna stop it here or not during my toilet break. Alright, after entering the old bladder, I've decided, fuck it. The next day, head to the chapel in the morning. The phone suddenly begins ringing. It's Toyama. Should probably ask about the tour visit. Yes, hello?
おはよう朝霧くん。あのさ、見学会2日前だけど、結局どうなったの？
We're doing it, of course. I reply reassuringly.
よかった。エステルさん体調良くなったんだ。
Yeah, those origami cranes might have had an effect.
いいこと言うじゃない。でもよかった。こっちも準備が不意になったら嫌だからね。
What preparations? Is there something that Toyama had to repair?
ああ、新しく買った服とかね、そういうやつ。
Let's see.
じゃ、あと2日だけど頑張ってね。みんなには板書を送り合わせの上、突撃するように言っとくから。
Looking forward to it.
じゃあね。
She hangs up. Right. I found myself up. Estel's already turned towards her desk when I entered the room. Good morning.
おはようございます。早速これをデータにしてもらえますか？
She hands me some handprint written papers with a thud. These are things that I hadn't seen before. We've been working on these since yesterday.
普通に作業したのでは終わりませんから。
Estelle continues to read a book quietly as if nothing had happened. She's the top student of the church's highest institution of learning. Just how much of her ability to concentrate will she show me? 3 hours pass by. Although Estelle stretches her body at times, she continues to stare at her desk. I turn the materials she's written one by one into data and create the headline pages to be broadcast on a projector at the same time. It's going pretty smoothly. Can I have you check this part, Estelle?
はい。
Estelle peeks at the computer display.
ここの表現がちょっとわかりにくいですね。ここは誤解を生みます。ここは学会でも結論が出ていないので断定しないで。
She steadily checks the parts I had no clue about. I can sense the difference in our levels. As I thought, you're amazing.
それなりに勉強はしていましたから。
Estelle says that briefly and then returns to her work. The sun starts to set. Estelle was grinding away. Suddenly puts down her pens. What's wrong?
寝ます。
え
1時間経ったら起こしてください。
Estelle gets into bed just like that. You can hear her sleeping breaths before I knew it. Can't be helped, she's been awake since yesterday. I'll enjoy viewing her sleeping face while I'm at it. Sleeping face sure is cute.
こら。
Thwack. Estelle opens her eyes and gives him a head a chop all of a sudden. Ow. So you were awake.
人の寝顔をじろじろ見ないでください。
Sorry.
私が言うのもなんですが、時間がないのですからお願いします。返事は？
Yes, ma'am.
結構です。それでは。
Click. Won't end with a chop next time if I try to confirm whether she's asleep or not. I obediently turn towards the computer. Estelle. Estelle! An hour has passed. I'm shaking Estelle, but she won't wake up so easily. You're unexpectedly bad at getting up.
失礼です。
Thwack. Ouch! My cheek takes on a chop this time. Please tell me if you're
寝
awake.
たふりをしていたわけではありません。ちょうど目が覚めただけです。
Does she have a tendency to wake up when people speak ill of her?
さて、
Estelle crawls out of bed and grooms herself quickly in front of the dresser.
私が寝ている間にどのくらい進みましたか？
I show her the computer.
おいおい、これっぽっちか？仕方のない坊やだな。
Or that's what Estelle's eyes seem to say.
引き続きよろしくお願いします。
Yes, I'm doing my best. I return back to work. Can I ask you a question, Estelle?
どうぞ。
Estelle says that as she keeps her eyes turned towards her book. This comes up every once in a while, but is Fiacca a person's name?
はい。かつての戦争があった頃から生き続けていて、ロストテクノロジーの乱用を防いでいると言われています。
It's been a few centuries already since then, right?
ええ。ですから、もしかしたら伝説上の人物なのかもしれません。
I think it's commonly known as a folktale.
そうとも言い切れません。かつての進んだ技術をもってすれば、不可能なことではないようですから。
What a story.
実在するなら、会ってみたいものですね。そういえば、
Estel turns towards me. Yeah?
帰らなくて良いのですか？
What time is it? It's around 8 p.m. when I look at my first watch. I'd like to stay over and keep working if you don't mind. It would be a joke if we didn't finish the preparations in time after coming this far. I have to complete this somehow.
ご随に。
It's decided then, let me make a quick call. Dinner's prepared before I realized it when I returned from my phone call. We have vegetable soup with bread and cheese, a staple menu at the chapel that I've had several times.
作り置きですけど。
I'm grateful for it. I bring the slightly dry bread to my mouth, continue working. Are you okay with not sleeping, Estel?
眠くなったら 1,2 時間寝ます。達也こそ、いつも寝る時間になったら寝てください。今夜頑張っても、明日一日は持ちませんから。ペースを乱さない方が良いと思います。
Is Estel used to this from her school life? She's composed. Alright.
Just sneaks up on me after a while.
眠くなってきましたね。
Yeah, it's 1 a.m. already. I'd be going to bed soon normally. I still know.
今のところ大丈夫です。
Estel shouldn't have slept for the most part since yesterday morning. I think she's sleepy to an extent, but has the sense of responsibility for recreating the situation herself, rousing her up. Sorry about this.
隣に客室がありますから、そこのベッドを使ってください。
Excuse me then. The figure facing the desk remains behind my eyelids as I leave Estel's room behind. Short while passes after I lay down in the guest room bed. I worked a lot today. It was a different type of fatigue from my usual manual labor fatigue. I have to do my best tomorrow too. My consciousness slowly fades. How much more time had passed since the sound of the door opening.
達也、寝ているのかしら。
Sense someone's presence approaching. Is that Estel?
今日は、ありがとう。
Suddenly feel her breathing beside my face. What was that? Like something had touched my cheek. Whatever. Oh, convenient. It's the day before the tour visit. We continue where we left off yesterday. Estel took about a 2-hour nap after I woke up, but she's been in full operation other than that. However, I can really see the work coming to a close. In addition, last-minute questions about participating increased today. I'm basically the one who deals with the phone, but this greatly interrupts my concentration. Will I make it in time?
間に合わせます。私がグズグズしていたせいで、こうなったのですから。
Estel isn't hiding her look of fatigue. Still, her eyes are filled with vitality. She's like a different person from her empty-shelled self a few days ago. Evening draws near on this day as well. Odds are that I'll be staying over today too. Can't go without taking a bath 2 days in a row when I'm thinking of the girl, as one would expect. Looks like I'd better stay over today too.
ええ、私一人では難しそうです。すみませんが、よろしくお願いします。
I'll go home and get changed. I'll come back as fast as I can.
わかりました。
I'm off then.
いってらっしゃい。
I leave Estel's room behind as he shows me a smile. I run to a familiar figure when I exit the building. It's been a while, Karin.
こんにちは、達也くん。見学会間に合ったようですね。
Yeah, we'll be able to manage somehow. We'll be coming by to watch tomorrow as well.
残念な
Karin.
がら明日は公務がありまして、それに学生が企画したものですから、外野はおとなしくしていた方が良いでしょう。
That's not true at all.
いいのですよ。ところでエステルはいますか？
She's struggling with the books in her room.
やっと立ち直ることができたのですね、彼女は。
Yeah,
よかった。
Karin says that along with a sigh. I can tell just how much she's worried about
達
Estel.
也くんはこれからどこへ？
I'm returning home temporarily to prepare for tomorrow.
頑張ってください。
Yes, excuse me then. I bow to Karin, then leave the chapel behind. Finish bathing. I'll squeeze the things I think are necessary in my bag for the time being. I also thrust that ring, which suddenly caught my eye, into my bag as well. See you tomorrow then.
私とミヤちゃんはちょっと早めに行くから。はい。キッチンにも慣れなくてはいけませんし。
Alright, make sure to cook some tasty
任せとい
food.
て。はい。お任せください。
Give my regards, Fina and then. Taking off.
おや達也くんじゃないか。
Jin!
昨日はエステルちゃんと一夜を共にしたんだってね。やっと君も男に。
A wooden spoon comes flying out of nowhere, causing Jin to fall to the
あ
ground.
れしゃもじどこ行ったかな。
Natsuki comes out from the restaurant, letting out a shameless voice. It fell over here.
達也、このしゃもじ兄さんのことほんと大好きなのよね。
I have no idea what she's talking about. I'm sorry for being off from work all the time. All
気に
this
しない
time.
で。他に大事なことがあるのにバイトやってる方がおかしいって。それより明日楽しみにしてるからね。
Yeah, leave it to me.
しかし前日まで準備とはギリギリだね。
I'm heading over there again
お
now.
疲れ様です。私も明日の準備しないと。
You're buying new clothes too?
なんというかそんな感じ。
What the heck?
じゃまたね。
That smile just says, do not ask questions, just fuck off. See you tomorrow. Natsuki retrieves Jin's abandoned body and heads into the restaurant. I'm back.
おかえりなさい。
Estel responds while still turned towards her desk. There's an extra large amount of paper piled on top of my desk. A big catch, I see.
しっかりお願いしますね。
Are you sure you don't need to take a bath?
試験前は朝に入るのが昔からの習慣なので。
For an exam? I suppose it's similar to that. Let's do it then.
泣いても笑っても今夜が最後です。頑張りましょう。
Two of us assemble again and turn towards our desks. My impatience grows stronger since there is no time, but I feel really replenished. Quite a lot of time has passed since we started working again. We're at the time when the outside of the window starts to feel faintly white. Esther places down her pencil and stretches out
終わり
wildly.
ました。
Really? That's great.
あとは達也がデータにしてくれれば終わりです。
Right? I'm filled with excitement now that I can see the goal. I'll finish this in one sitting. Around an hour later, I finally finish entering the data. It'll be done once I hit the enter key.
よかった。なんとか間に合いました。
Esther smiles with a slightly fatigued look. Please push it, Estelle.
私が？それはおかしいです。これはあなたの仕事でしょ？
Let's push it together then.
なんだか子供のようです。
Oh, come on. Estelle and I place our index finger on the
お疲れ様。
keyboard. Good work. We match the timing with our eyes. You push the enter key. Meeting time is supposed to be at 10 a.m. My classmates start to gather little by little 30 minutes before that.
あ
However,
れは学生ではないですね。
yeah, I think those who aren't uniforms are outsiders, regardless of all those refusals to put the figures of outsiders here and there. Just how many people are interested in this project? I hear the sound of cars coming to a stop in the distance. I hear doors opening and shutting all in rapid succession. Was there someone who was coming by car? People wearing suits enter the courtyard after a short while. There are 4 tough-looking characters surrounding 3 important-looking people. Classmates stir as we mix in, like, obvious foreign substances. I'll speak to them.
私も行きます。
Head towards where the people with suits were. Excuse me, but what is your business here?
ああ、君はここの責任者かね。
I'm the one in charge of this project. This here is priestess at the chapel.
お見知りおきを。
私は三鶴ヶ崎の市議だがね。今日ここで開催される講習会にフィーナ様がいらっしゃると聞いたが。
Yeah, she will be.
講習会？
月のことを教える講習会なのだろ。
Only isn't wrong. I understand that those interested in participating will increase if the rumor spread with this being a seminar. I apologize, but the visit today is private, so we cannot have the general public participating. I repeat the same line that I've repeated many times until today.
参加できない？どうして？
To tell you the truth, there are a ton of people who wish to participate.
希望される方全員に参加していただくことになりますと、とても施設に入りきりませんので。
ここにいる人間なら入りきるだろう。
You might be right, but that would be unfair. I'm fed up with this.
いいじゃないか。せっかく出向いてきたんだ。
You came out of your way to come here when you were already told that it was not a possibility. Even if you say so, this isn't a project that's open to the public.
入るだろう。5人や10人は。
Still,
もういい。無理にでも参加させてもらうぞ。
規律を守れない方に礼拝堂へ入っていただくわけには参りません。
なんだと？
oh crap. Looks like they're going to start an argument. The others around us start to stir up. I don't want a fight to break out on this day. We not have a choice here.
どうしました？
Fina shows up in uniform in the manner she does when she enters a classroom. Fina, seems this person here
これはフィーナ様。
starts to introduce himself before I could explain.
ですから、今日はぜひ同席させていただきたいと。
なるほど。そうでしたか。今日は学生の会ですので、ご遠慮いただければ嬉しいのですが。
そこをなんとか。
ご遠慮ください。
では、フィーナ様お写真だけでも。
Starts to become persistent without backing down. She's going to get angry. Fina really hates it when the line isn't drawn. Just say that.
学生のやることに、あれやこれやと口を出す大人がどこにいます？
そういうわけでは。
それとも、三鶴ヶ崎の市議会は、分別のない方の集まりなのですか？
Fina's voice rings through the courtyard. See?
すごいですね。
申し訳ありませんでした。失礼します。
The men in suits scuttle away and leave the
ま
courtyard.
ったく。肩書きを出すなら、それにふさわしい振る舞いをしてほしいものです。
The case is closed with a snapshot of Fina. Thanks, you saved us.
ありがとうございました、フィーナ様。
お気になさらないでください。あ、エステルさん。そろそろ集合の時間ですよ。
はい。
We briefly take attendance once everyone enters the chapel. Despite it being postponed once everyone is present. And then the tour visit finally commences. First part is the tour of the facility. From the chapel to the bell tower to the kitchen and the private rooms, we go around in a group like suitable tourists. Estel goes into an explanation of every room and everyone listens carefully with great interest. Kitchen, private rooms, and bathrooms were especially popular.
意外に普通なんだ。なんか、もっと全然違うのを想像してた。
They can mostly live without feeling out of place. The big gap is thinking whether to take off their shoes or not when they enter somebody's house.
へえ。言われてみればそうだよね。フィーナさんも朝霧くん家にホームステイしてるんだし。
Again, we can't have them think that the chapel is especially different. But I think it's important, but I think what's important is having them understand that they use the same things that we do.
あ、この千羽鶴。
はい。皆さんに作っていただいたものです。おかげさまで元気になりました。
やっぱり地球の夏は辛いですか？
ええ。月では1年を通じて気温がほとんど一定に管理されていますので、寒暖の差自体に慣れていないんです。
She has a good conversation with them. It becomes Estel's question corner once we go around the facility. Estel starts answering the original list of questions she had received for one by one. What surprised you most when you came to Earth?
空が青いことです。
What sort of things do you usually do at the chapel?
まず朝起きたらお祈りです。次に礼拝堂の清掃。その次に朝食を作ります。
Can you watch Earth TV programs on the moon?
見られません。そもそも礼拝堂にはテレビはありません。
What are your favorite foods?
紅茶とホットケーキです。
There are cries of admiration and stirring at each question. Seems that even though Estel was embarrassed at first, she slowly starts to get used to it. Gotta think of it, how many days has it been since she approved of answering questions about her personal life? Feels like it's been quite a while ago now that I think about it. So most of the time then, so for questions, alright? Okay, everyone says.
ありがとうございました。
Has a round of applause when Estel bows. Estel looks around with a surprised face. Then she soon smiles
エ
at
ステルさん、変わったわね。
Yeah. Estel, who hated Earthlings so much, is responding to their applause with a smile. I'm glad that we planned this tour visit today just because of that. Lunchtime approaches. The chapel lunch party will take place from this point on forward. Sorry, but can I get everybody to help out? I have the guys prepare the desks to start with. We line up the conference desks covered with white tablecloths that Nason had brought over from the museum. I gave Mia and Mai a call on occasion to follow up.
お昼の準備ができました。大変お待たせしました。
The two will bring the meal into the chapel. Have the girls help distribute the food. In a little less than 10 minutes, the chapel quickly changes into a buffet
今日は
party.
最高の出来だよ。
I see, I'm looking forward to it. But she starts singing.
はい、今日は大丈夫でした。
Thank God. That'd be a huge commotion if the Death March made an appearance during the main event. What the
歌
fuck
と
does
料理
the...
にどういう関係があるのですか？
well, it's kind of deeply connected.
わけがわかりません。
She won't get it unless she experiences that terror. Let's have the two who made the food today introduce the menu. Two of them start to explain the food in a nervous manner. Staple food from the moon includes moon wheat cookies and lunar herb roasted rabbits. Of course, it'd be fucking rabbits from the moon. It wouldn't be enough with just that, so they also added salt and bread from Earth. It's time for Estel's speech once juice is poured for each of their paper cups. Estel will now make a toast.
私が？達也がやってください。
I won't get roused up if I do it since all of them are my classmates.
でも、何を話していいか。やっぱり達也が。
何やってんのあれ。イチャイチャしてるんじゃないの？食べる前にお腹いっぱいだって。
See, they're making fun of us now.
もう。
Estel holds her cup and stands up in front of us. In front. She then closes her eyes and takes a deep breath.
皆さん、今日はお集まりいただき、誠にありがとうございます。
Clearing that Estel didn't want to, her speech goes on smoothly.
私が体調を崩したせいで、1週間ほど延期になってしまいましたが、こうして欠席者なく開催できたことを、本当に嬉しく思っています。皆さん、どうか楽しんでいってください。そして、少しでも月の生活に興味を持っていただければ、幸いです。それでは。
Everyone raises their cups.
乾杯！乾杯！
The lunch party starts after Estel's flawless speech. Fina comes over to us
立
immediately.
派な挨拶でしたね。ありがとうございます。でも、挨拶ならフィーナ様にしていただいた方がよ。
今日は一人の学生として参加していますから、私が挨拶するのは筋が通っていませんよ。
That's why it's good that you did it.
しかし、二人とも随分と親しくなっていたのね。
そのようなことは。
将来が楽しみです。
Fina says just that and then returns back to everyone. Well, let's eat too.
ええ、月うさぎは久しぶりです。
Famed food was great. It'd be fair to ask whether or not the moon wheat cookies alone were good, but they weren't bad at all once you added yogurt and jam to them. The lunar rabbits had a refreshing flavor, so they were tasty. There's nothing to object about the salad and bread that Mia and Mai had went all out to make. My classmates look satisfied as a whole. It's finally time for the lecture after an additional 15-minute lunch break. Estel and I return to our room to make our final arrangements. Estel has the role of giving the lecture. I have the role of operating the projector and following her progress. The data that's to be projected is written down, and there shouldn't be any problems as long as I don't fall asleep. What's left is, we discussed this last time, but please don't touch on the outcome of the war.
わかっています。
Moon and Earth had been taught completely opposite things in regards to the outcome of the war. I had an argument with Estel over this point a while ago, but didn't come to a conclusion. We decided not to touch on this topic in the end. What's left is to try our best then.
はい。
Estel holds the documents to her chest.
これが無事終われば、 見学会も成功です。
Yeah, it'll probably go well if it's you.
私たちならですよ。この見学会は2人で作ったのだから。
Estel looks at me with a smile.
さあ、行きましょうか。
Right. I first headed to the chapel and distribute the lecture papers to all the participants. It's a simple summary of the lecture contents. Next, to prepare the mic, the projector, and the projector screen. Estel makes her entry around the time when I finish validating the things I got to work. There's a burst of applause from out of nowhere when Estel shows up from the door further in. Clapping stops when she stands up, bows at the altar, and then the chapel surrounded in silence. Second part will commence now. Estel will now make a lecture on the history of the moon and the church. Estel quietly bows again. The lecture starts after she taps the mic.
現在、月と地球には同じ言葉を話す人類が住んでいます。また、今日皆さんがご覧になった通り、月と地球の文化には多くの共通点があります。
Hold on, this is actually like a weird post-apocalyptic, like post-war world where the entire world is Japan. Because that would explain, like, the same language. aka singular. The lecture starts with these words. Estel continued the lecture, saying how Lunarians and Earthlings were originally the same race. I'm sure she wouldn't have started like this when I had first met her. She explains the history of the church a short while later. Yeah, it sure would be nice if I could read that. If anyone could translate this, would be very kind of you. Put it in the comments, please, with the timestamp to this, because I don't know what any of this says. Fuck. Oh yeah. There's more! Here you go. Here you go. I'm like pressing it just so it all appears at once, at least. So people don't have to wait for it all to come down. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. That's about the gist of it. Yeah, I sure understood all of that! Estel's speech is clear and the lecture continues at a good pace. My classmates are enthusiastically taking notes while looking at the image reflected by the screen at the paper in their hands. It's my job at the moment to control the image reflected by the screen. Flip over the page in my hand in accordance with Estel's progress. There are numeric figures written down on the text intermittently, and the image file of those figures are reflected on the projector screen. There won't be any mistakes unless something unexpected happens. Crowd without thinking. Is there something wrong with the printer? There aren't any characters in the middle of the paper. Also, when I printed these, it's off, so it would be extremely bad if the lecture stops here. Peek at Estel. He's also looking at me with a sullen look. It appears that we'll have to progress by our senses until the page is over. I'm still okay. The image indicates where we should be, and I can return to the previous page if I get ahead. However, Estel has to progress the lecture with nothing in front of her. What will she do? The palm of my hand starts to get moist with sweat. However, Estel pulls it off calmly. She can use the lecture in a manner no different than if she were to have the manuscript. And she moves on to the next page. Wow, Estel's top of the class position wasn't just for show. Way to go. Reach out to her with my eyes.
宇宙層にするぞ。
She threatens back with her eyes. The latter part was scary, but it seems that we've overcome the crisis.
さて、月と地球の歴史を語る上で避けられないのが戦争です。
Speech moves on to the part about the
現在
war.
詳しい資料は残っていませんが、お互いの文明が後退するほどの被害が発生したことは事実のようです。この戦争の勝敗についてですが、
Wait a second. This is different from what we discussed. Estelle glances towards me. She looks away without hesitation when I object with my eyes.
現在残っている技術では月の方が勝っています。このことからも月が勝利したとの見方が妥当である。
It begins to stir in the chapel. Well, naturally. My classmates here were taught that the Earth had won. Can't believe Estelle would run with a public stunt like this here.
というように月では教えられています。しかし先日拝見した地球の教科書では全く逆のことが書かれていました。
Commotion quiets down.
このように私たちは教育においても大きな隔たりを持っています。こういった隔たりは私たちの世代がなくしていく必要があるでしょう。
Estelle grins for just an instant. I've been had! Estelle's enjoying making me panic.
教育においても隔たりがあるという事実はこの見学会の準備の過程で初めて気づきました。今後こういった交流が盛んになればより多くの隔たりが見つかり、またそれらが埋められていくと確信しています。
However, she's adopted more of an opinion. She agreed not to touch on the outcome of the war because it would become problematic. However, she presented not a passive way of going about it, but a higher dimensional solution. She's amazing after all. My classmates are also drawn in by her speech, as they forgot to look at the papers at their hands and have their eyes fixed on her. Estelle doesn't have as much bright, charismatic influence as Fina does. However, I feel that her influence certainly is sinking into us in this deep silence. This might be Estelle's charming point. Lecture ends. The classmates stand up and applaud for Estelle. Estelle bows many times at the altar. She's surrounded by claps that grow bigger like waves each time she does. It's a huge success. YoaMae steps in front of Estelle in the midst of the non-stop clapping. And she takes her hand.
朝霧くんもこっち来て。
Me too. What could this be about? Fall behind YoaMae next to Ethel. Everyone class is following us from behind. We're going outside. Oh my god, can you look at these three? They just look like they're currently sharing a brain cell. Actually, no, these two look like they're sharing a brain cell. This one looks like he's lacking one.
お疲れ様。
Huh?
これは
Unbelievable scene spreads out before my eyes. They had set up an outdoor party without us realizing in a courtyard that should have been empty. This leaves me speechless. I'm deeply moved by this close to shocking scene that sweeps out in front of me. That's why that's why Karen was busy, wasn't it? I'm sure Estelle feels the same way. We have our breaths held, not saying a word.
これは私たちからのお礼。何もかも任せちゃって本当にごめんね。
Two of them stand in front of us.
いえ。
I'll mention it. Classmates exit out of the chapel one after another and surround us. Estelle and I are surrounded by 30 people in the blink of an
今日は
eye.
本当にありがとう。ありがとう。楽しかったよ。
ありがとう、エステルさん、達也。
I can't take scenes where people surround a person and one by one congratulate or thank them seriously anymore. Conflagulations. I haven't even watched Evangelion myself. I just know the memes, and that's why I can't take it seriously anymore.
地球での素晴らしい思い出になったわ。
Three of them smile.
はい。
Thanks, everyone. I have to say something, Estelle. Call out to Estelle beside me.
そうは思っているのですが。
Estelle's still spacing out. Keep it together, Estelle. Push Estelle in front of everyone.
ありがとう朝霧エステルさん
楽しかったよ。ありがとう。
正直こんなに楽しめるとは思ってなかったよ。
月のことすごく興味出てきたよ。
大学行ったら月の勉強するかも。
朝霧くん、エステルさん、サンキュー。
Okay, that was just Sayaka. That was literally just Sayaka. Estel's enveloped by everyone's smiles.
皆さん、
I'm sure it finally hit her. Estel regains her composure little by little. Estel,
達也。
good thing we went through with this, right? The moment I called out to her. Estel's face contorts and she leaks out a sob. Estel.
ありがとう。ありがとう。本当にありがとう。
Estel simply continues to shed tears as she repeats her words of gratitude. By no means did Estel have an easy life. She received much slander. She kept on fighting against others to the point of forgetting to do anything else except that. Despite that, she was forced to ascend to the ends of the earth without being recognized. She had lost everything. What was she trying to find in this empty world? I don't know. However, she started to turn and walk forward again. Right now, in commemoration of her first step, she accepts the applause of many before her. Her opponents in the world that she has been fighting against in her life are now giving her their blessing. You did well. Well, managed to hang in there. Lightly pat Estel's head. Estel breaks down crying like a dam had been broken.
ひどいよ、達也。お兄ちゃん。
仕方ないわね。
Is that how it is?
さあ、今度は地球の料理ですよ。そうそう。一生懸命作ったんだから。
Estel?
ええ。
Estel dabs her eyes with a handkerchief and lifts her
そ
face.
れじゃあ、見学会の第3部を始める前に、エステルさんにお言葉をいただきましょう。
All eyes gather on Estel. Go on. Estel looks to be on the verge of tears again. I think you should just tell them your honest feelings, Estel.
はい。
She just walks up. See this man? That's mine now. Don't touch him. Like, I know I said honest feelings, but what the fuck? Estel looks up at the sky like she's taking a deep breath. And then, Estel turns forward again. Seeing her face shine as much as it is now.
皆さん、今日は本当にありがとうございました。今この瞬間の喜びを私は一生忘れないと思います。
After the festival, we're sweeping and putting away the equipment we used. That's quite a lot of dust.
人が集まると意外に汚れるものですよ。
Estel replies while sweeping the floor. Let's return to projector and everything else tomorrow.
そうですね。ここだけの話。今日は疲れました。
Estel smiles
でも
bitterly.
楽しかったです。人のために何かをして喜んでもらって、こんなに素晴らしいことがあるなんて。
You've changed a lot, Estel.
そうですね。本当に変わりました。
The door leading further in opens.
今日はお疲れ様でした。途中で少し覗かせてもらいましたが、なかなか盛況でしたね。
Yeah, fortunately.
喜ばしい限りです。
それでどうされました？
エステル、お前にお客様だよ。
Man bows from further inside the door. Absor suddenly tenses
わ
up.
かりました。
部屋で待っているよ。
Mortis leaves the chapel.
達也、悪いけれど少し外します。
Was that?
外務局長です。
I think that she mentioned that she was invited into the Foreign Affairs Bureau. She's probably here to get her answer.
では行ってきます。
When he said that Estel exits the chapel. Just how will Estel respond? She'll most likely return to the moon if she's going into the Foreign Affairs Bureau. Considering the present political situation, there's no guarantee that we'll meet again. But I want her to pick the option that she desires. It will be painful if you have to separate, of course. But I don't want to see her bend her choice to her romantic emotions. Knowing Estel, Knowing the girl that I fell in love with, I'm sure she'll go down her own path. I can only prepare myself to accept the choice that she goes with, so that I won't lose my nerve at the critical moment. Oh yeah, like yeah, you really gotta watch out so you don't lose your nerve, because I've seen you lose your nerve way too fucking frequently!
失礼します。
In Fina's route already. Also, apparently there's an anime adaptation of the Fina route, and I'm planning on watching that just so I can talk shit about it, as well as the worst cabbage in anime history. Hold on. YoaMae cabbage. Quality cabbage. Hold on, let me just... You know what, fuck it, I'll just... should I just show the scene? I'll mute it and just get to the specific scene I'm looking for. There we go. Add. Display capture, yes. The worst cabbage in anime history. The worst cabbage in anime history. You can tell that the budget they had for this was far, far, far lower than they had for the goddamn Daitoshokan anime. Because the Daitoshokan anime actually looked good. Then we have, like I said, the worst cabbage in anime history. Fucking hilarious, quite frankly. It is quite nice that we see our man, our lad, in his dapper uniform, work uniform, there.
Oh, 来たか。
Moritz and the two men are in this room. It's Foreign Affairs Bureau chief and the person claiming to be my own.
わざわざありがとうございます。
公園は少しだけ覗かせてもらったが、なかなか立派だったよ。
ありがとうございます。
さて、
Foreign Affairs Bureau chief pauses.
結論は出たかね。
He gets right to the point. I'll also be frank with him in that
お
case.
断りさせていただきます。
おお。
エステル。
Foreign Affairs Bureau chief let out a surprised voice, but his expression didn't change much.
理由を聞かせてもらおう。
今回の講演を通して、私は自分のやりたかった仕事に気づきました。私は人と触れ合う中で喜びや悲しみを分かち合う、そんな仕事をしたいのです。
Moritz worked for the sake of many orphans. There have been many children that were saved thanks to Moritz. I'm also one of those. I was thrown outside into this world from the moment I was born. Would I be alive right now? I want to become someone like Moritz. I'll interact with people, relieve them of their unease, and pull out their smiles. That's the kind of job I want.
確かに、それは外務局にはない仕事だな。しかし、以前と言っていることが違うようだが、一体どういうことだ？
変わったとしか言えません。
その一言で私の数日間の苦労を無駄にするつもりかね？それほど暇なわけではないのだが。
申し訳ありません。
Bow down deeply.
わかった。
申し訳ありません。
Apologize once more.
残念だが仕方あるまい。やる気がない人間がやっていけるほどうちは甘くない。
ありがとうございます。
礼を言われてもな。
Foreign Affairs Bureau Chief laughs around.
では、これで失礼する。
Foreign Affairs Bureau Chief leaves the room in a boisterous manner. Like how many sentences that's just like the Foreign Affairs Bureau Chief does something.
どうもお忙しいところにお邪魔してしまったようですね。
いえ、お呼びしたのはこちらですから。
モーリッツ様が？
お前の公演を見てもらおうと思ってね。
素晴らしい公演でしたよ、エステルさん。
ありがとうございます。
There's a meek smile on his face. Doesn't seem to be faking it. I'm sure he's a gentle person. First place, taking custody of a Lunarian is a difficult burden to carry. Must have a very strong sense of responsibility if he's trying to do that.
先ほどの方もそうでしたから、私も単刀直入に伺いましょう。
He stared into my face. It's most likely that he's seeking my response. I'd wondered what my real parents were like ever since I found out that I was an orphan. Seems they've passed away, but I'm glad that I've met someone that's related to me by blood. I'll be able to live freely as a Lunarian with this.
お申し出はありがたいのですが、私はずっと付き人として生きてきました。もう少し幼い頃ならなんとかなったのかもしれませんが、今となってはもう。
He nods to each of my words.
それに私の親は私の一番近くで愛情を与えてくれた方です。これから愛してくれるかもしれない方よりは今まで愛してくれた方を選びます。
Having said that, I look at Moritz. He nods at me with his eyes slightly closed.
私もそれが良いと思います。これから地球で生きていこうとすれば、数多くの新しい物事に慣れていかねばなりません。それよりは慣れた環境で生きていくのが良いでしょう。
ありがとうございます。
少し残念な気もしますが。
He smiles.
これは私の連絡先です。兄のしたこととはいえ、私もできる限りのことはしていきたいと思っています。もし何かありましたらお気軽にご連絡ください。
Politely accept his business card.
それでは私もこれで。
Holds out his right hand. Also hold out my right hand. Setting sun illuminates the room in red. Moritz takes a seat once the two men leave the room.
エステル、お前の言ったことは全て本心から出たことか？
はい、もちろんです。大切な選択を他人に任せることはしません。
そうか。
Moritz leans against the back of his chair in relief. A strong sense of fatigue from Moritz's expression. Might be being right beside the illumination from the light.
エステルは以前地球に望んできたと嘘をついたな。
He says something unexpected.
気づいていらっしゃったのですか？
当たり前だ。
これでも隠していたつもりだったのですが。
お前を子供の頃から見ているのだ。わからないはずがあるまい。
すみません。
いや、気を使ってくれて嬉しかったよ。ただ、礼を言いたかっただけだ。
Moritz is being unusually talkative. Something happened.
実は私は近々月へ帰ることになっている。いい加減戻ってこいとのお達しだ。
そうでしたか。でしたらここはどうなるのですか？
後任を指名することになっている。
I want to work here. That's how I feel. I've drifted Earth after many setbacks, but the people here greeted me warmly and even helped me with my life. Want to pay their favor, even if a little at a time.
私を後任に指名していただくことはできるのでしょうか？
お前を？
はい。
そうか。どういった心境の変化だ？
私はここで多くのことを学びました。過去の呪縛から逃れることができたのもこの場所に来たからだと思っています。
朝霧さんに会えたからではないのかな？
何をおっしゃるのですか？
I tell that my face is flushed.
これは何とも。
達也との件がゼロとは申しませんが、私がここに残るのは恩返しがしたいからです。
ああ、分かっているよ。一度責任者になればそう簡単には月へ戻れなくなるが、それでもやるか？
Moritz asks me this with a serious expression. Considering Moritz's age, it's not strange to think that something happened.
やります。
分かった。民生局に申請しておこう。責任者を務めるにはまだ経験が少ないが、まあ地球のことはとやかく言われまい。
よろしくお願いします。
話はこれで終わりだ。今日は本当にご苦労だったね。
いえ、ありがとうございました。
I bow to Moritz and then leave his room. I'll be in charge of this place in place of Moritz. My entire body is wrapped in an indescribable excitement. I thought that things would turn out this way when I had come to Earth. It's all thanks to Tatsuya and the others. Another view end. Light shining in from the stained glass draws a colorful world on the floor. Stare up absent-mindedly at the glass with a broom. With the broom Estel had left in my hand. Cleaning hasn't progressed in the slightest. Door opens and Estel comes out. She has a bright expression on her face, but...
お待たせしました。
Welcome back. How'd it go? That's what I want to ask, but I can't quite make up my mind. Silence flows on and the cap.
外務局の話は断りました。
Is that so? Wasn't overpowered with emotion right
あ
away.
と、モーリッツ様の後任として、この礼拝堂の責任者になることになりました。
That means... Come to think of it, Mortis told me they'd be returning to the moon shortly. Estel's going to be a success. You're always going to be on Earth.
最低、何年かはいると思います。
Being on Earth is something that you wished for, right?
もちろんです。
See, it's reassuring that.
モーリッツ様にも同じことを聞かれました。
Of course he would. That's what's most important.
心配してくれて、ありがとうございます。
Can I ask you why? How come you're going to be in the charge of here? How come you're going to be in charge here?
そうですね。宗教者としての役割を果たすためでしょうか。
Estel answers after thinking about it a little. Your role?
人は誰しも自らの過去に少なからず影響を受けて生きています。礼拝堂に相談に来るのは自身の過去にとらわれて苦しんでいる方ばかり。私たちの仕事とはそういった方の過去と向き合い、少しでも過去を肯定できるようお手伝いをすることなのでしょう。言葉を変えれば、宗教者は付き人の過去と向かい合っているということなのかもしれません。
I see.
フィーナ様が常に付き人の未来をお考えになっていらっしゃるのとは反対です。未来を見つめる政治と過去と向かい合う教団。この二者がうまく機能して、初めて国は前進することができるのでしょう。
Estel speaks with a firm expression. But how is that related to you working here? Estel smiles slightly towards my question.
これもフィーナ様のお言葉ですが、この居住区はセフィリア様が月と地球の交流を促進するために引かれた道です。しかし、ここに住む付き人は戦争の記憶にとらわれ、地球人への根拠のない偏見に満ちています。私がそうであったように、居住区が月と地球の交流拠点としての役割を十分に果たすためには、ここに住む付き人がまず地球人を受け入れる気持ちを持たなくてはならないはずです。そうなるよう自然に促していくのがこの礼拝堂の務めなのでしょう。
Even known as a place to promote interaction, you can't have them not treating Earthlings kindly.
ええ、全くです。
Estel smiles
それ
wryly.
に私はこの地へ来て初めて過去の呪縛から抜け出すことができました。そもそもここへ来なければ過去にとらわれていたこと自体に気づかなかったと思います。ですからその恩返しの意味も含め、私はここで生きていこうと思ったのです。
Is that so? Estel openly speaks her thoughts. Her expression is many times brighter than from before when she was feeling down.
それにここで働くことは私の夢にもつながりますから。
Your dream?
はい。
Estel looks up at the stained glass.
自分が孤児だと気づく前の本当に幼い頃のことですけど、私はモーリッツ様のように人の役に立ち感謝される人になりたいと考えていました。過去に反発するうちに徐々に忘れてしまいましたが、私の深いところにはこの思いがずっとあったように思います。聖職者への道を選んだのもきっと幼い頃の思いが生きていたからです。もちろんカレン様とは違う道でという気持ちもありましたが。
I see. Looks like you found what's important to you.
ええ、おかげさまで。
Estel replies with cheerful expression. I thought the charm was her mood that's as transparent as the night atmosphere, but his kind of bright face is attractive too. And here's a present from me in commemoration of finding what's important to you. Take out the grass ring from my bag.
それは
Remember what you told me when you gave this to me?
覚えていません。
Estelle pretends to be tough with her usual gesture. She really is an adorable person. Let me tell you then.
ええ。
Tell me to give this to someone who's important to me. I was lost as to who to give it to back then, but there's no need to hesitate any longer. It was important to me. It's right here. Estelle, I always pray for your health, because I love you. Hand out the hand-sized ring with both hands.
私はあなたに失礼なことばかりをしてきました。
The present exists because of the past. I regret the time I've spent with you in the slightest. Estelle rests my hand at the ring with both of her hands. Our gazes become entangled. No longer turn away. Climb ahead and slowly approach Estelle's lips.
達也、
Estelle close her eyes. Slowly close in. Stop for a moment at a distance where we can sense each other's temperature. Give Estelle's hand a squeeze. Love you. Yes, I'm praying with all the strength that I have. I close the last gap. That's a nice CG right there. That was actually a nice route. I can see why people say that's like one of the best routes in this. Anyways, Monday. Moritz Sabelfranz.
先日の見学会は成功だったようですね。
私も少し覗かせてもらったが、なかなか盛況だったようだよ。
フィーナ様も良い思い出になったと喜んでおられ。
そうか。もうお帰りになられたのだな。
はい。ところで月へお帰りになると伺いましたが。
ああ。エステルがここを引き継いでくれることになってね。
本当に成長しました。エステルは近い将来この三鶴ヶ崎になくてはならない存在となるでしょう。
Cotton stares at the floor and broods for a
差
bit.
し出がましいかもしれませんが、エステルに伝えなくてよいのですか？今のエステルならきっと許してくれると思います。
There was a ring of wistfulness to her words for once. That's just how much she's concerned about me.
許してくれるからこそ言えないのだよ。これは私の贖罪なのだ。
モーリッツ様、私やエステルをはじめたくさんの人があなたに救われました。もうご自身が救われても良いはずです。
私は罪を背負った生き方に慣れてしまったのだ。この年になって許されても、もはやどう生きてよいかわからない。
The tone is my way of
ど
being.
うしてあなたはそうロマンチストなのですか？
Cotton says that in disgust.
男だからかな。
Cotton shakes her head towards my
それ
reply.
に私はこの道に入るとき誓いを立てたのだ。どうあってもエステルに言うことはできない。
The vow I made when I took Estelle in. That's the punishment that was imposed on me. That's what I hoped for at the time. There weren't many people who could give me a penalty. Now that I think back on it, it might be the role of the person of God to punish someone as pitiful as I. Cotton bites down on her
そう悲
lips.
観するでもない。エステルならきっといつか気づくだろう。
それではモーリッツ様が。
良いのだよ。聖職者は救うのが仕事だ。救われる必要などないだろう。
ならば誰があなたを救えるというのです。
Self-full voice echoes through the room, but I didn't know how to respond to that. Another view end. Is this not actually the end? Do we have to deal with Moritz's bullshit now? Like, I thought it would be over now, but now apparently we have to give Moritz therapy now. It's been 10 days since Fined returned to the moon. Moritz finished handing over his job and the day his return to the moon has come. I went to see him off at the cathedral, central communications port with their own eyes, but Earthlings aren't able to get into the airport. Estel and I decided to see him off at the chapel after discussing
エ
it.
ステル、いろいろとあるだろうが、焦らずにしっかりおやり。
はい。
朝霧さんもお世話になりました。
Thank you for your hospitality, too.
あなたに会えた幸運を神に感謝しております。
No, I haven't done much.
ずっとエステルのそばにいてくれたではないですか。
とても心強かったです。
Estel grasps my hand, but it's something that I wished for myself.
仮に両者が望んでいたとしても、同じ人のそばに居続けることは難しい。本当に難しいことなんですよ。
Estel puts strength into her grip. I also give her a squeeze
そ
back.
れでは。
Otis picks up the luggage he had left after having said
こ
that.
れは私がお持ちします。
カレン、大丈夫だよ。
いえ、持たせてください。
ありがと
Karen picks up the luggage when Moritz moves away. It's probably a way of showing
モリッ
respect.
ツ様。
Estel takes a step forward and looks up at Moritz.
う。どうした？
モリッツ様。私は、
Estel stops mid-sentence. I can tell that she's trying to say something very important.
私は、モリッツ様を本当の父親だと思っています。きっと、血のつながった家族よりも強く。
Estel is staring straight at Moritz. Moritz opens his eyes wide for an instant, but his expression immediately softens.
ありがと
Moritz pats Estel's head.
モリッツ様。
Estel pushes her forward against Moritz's chest. Moritz gently brushes Estel's shoulders.
う。私もお前を本当の娘だと思っているよ。
はい。ありがとうございます。
Moritz separates away from Estel and steps away from us. You can tell that this is a farewell.
皆さんに神の祝福がありますよ。
Goodbye. Let us meet again.
ありがとうございました。
元気で。
Shows the biggest smile I've seen yet. Then Moritz turns his back towards us. Our retreating figures go into a distance and then eventually
行
disappear.
ってしまいましたね。
Estel seems like she'd break out in tears at any moment. Shall we go see them off too?
空港には入れません。わかっているでしょ？
I know of a place where you can get a good view of the airport.
行きましょう。今すぐ。
Alright. Pull Estel's hand. Our goal is Monomi Hill Park.
良いところですね。
Estel says that as she looks around her. I come here at times to walk the Italians. This place is perfect for you since plenty of other people come here to walk their dogs too.
私をけなしているのですか？
Estel has a sullen look. I'm praising you. You're an unusual dog lover. She hit my head.
それは褒めているとは言いません。さあ、早く案内してください。
Take her held out hand without hesitation and climb up the stairs towards the viewing platform.
綺麗。
Estel's hair flutters up due to the wind blown from Mitsurugasaki's Gulf. The wind that has a slight trace of coolness to it feels like it's marking the end of summer. Residential district is at the mouth of the delta.
あれが、
Ship will be taking off soon. Point at the central communications port at the tip of the delta.
はい。
Estel tightens her grip. Is it because she's nervous? Is it because of her sorrow separating from Moritz? Her hand is trembling slightly. Ah, it's floating. Transporter flies in the air without gravitational control, with gravitational control technology that the Earth had lost. There's no existence of a runaway since it takes off vertically. There's no existence of a runway since it takes off vertically from the ground.
Moritz 様にまたお会いできるでしょうか？
Lower that handsome lad. I'm sure we can, even though it might take some time. Oh no, it's auto scroll again. Distance between the moon and Earth will shorten more once Vina becomes the queen. Let's do our best for Moritz until then.
そうですね。
Ship's altitude increases more and more. It won't be long until we can't see it.
モーリッツ様は本当に私に優しくしてくださいました。
He's always been worried about you.
本当にいつも私のことばかり。
Estel looks up at the sky. That's probably so that she won't spill tears that, or well, spill tears that are welling up.
つい最近までモーリッツ様が本当の父親だと考えていました。
You sense that you're related by blood?
はい、モーリッツ様がおっしゃらないだけで実は血がつながっているのだと。
You have a clue or something to base that on?
いいえ、ただの勘です。
Estel looks at me with a smile.
あの方とはどこかでつながっているような、そんな気がしていたのです。私の願望だったのかもしれませんが。
When he said that, Estel looks up at the sky once again. The words are like that of a farewell address being sucked up into the sky high above, chasing after the shrinking transporter. Now, this music is nice, but I'm still gonna skip it. I'm trying to skip it. I can't skip it, apparently. That didn't work. Well, guess I'll do something else while I'm waiting for this to finish. Namely, reading the official Pokemon manga. Oh, I gotta mention. That was a mention. There we go. Quickly had to write out a message there. Sorry about that. Fucking fish Pokemon manga is fucking wild, by the way. I knew it was wild before, but it's even fucking wilder than I thought. Like, Jesus Christ, fucking Lance is killing people. So some time until the transporter takes off. Take the time in the lobby for the moment. So many things have happened since Estel had come to Earth. Discussions I would have imagined have been settled. But the result is close to as good as it can get. It's been quite a long time since I've actually taken care of Estel. Finally been able to fulfill my atonement.
暑い中、ご苦労なことだな。
Voice goes out to me from my right side. Can't see their figure.
わざわざのお見送り。
何世話になった礼だ。
That's Wreath! Wreath is the fucking person that survived the war! Motherfucker! That's so gonna be the case!
こちらにいる間は大きなことは何も起こりませんでしたな。
それに越したことはないよ。
She says that
出
bitterly.
発までまだ時間があるな。退屈しのぎに何か面白い話はないか？
それでは一つ昔話を。
It was about 20 years ago. It was a big topic on an event regarding the lunar foreign policy. The embassy was established on Earth in Mitsurugasaki. Work at the embassy is a job for the elite, which remains true for both now and back then. I was a noble ordered to work at the embassy at the time. His family lineage was within the average. For someone like him, who had little hopes of getting promoted, working at the embassy was an unparalleled chance that paved a bright road. He was appointed in triumph, accompanied by his daughter, who smothered him with love. Her name was Frisia. She had refined features like that of a sculpture and white skin. Her long pale pink-colored hair was impressive. The job at the embassy was a wonderful time for the noble. The diplomacy with the Earth was the political agenda that mattered most at the time. He was completely absorbed in his work, feeling proud to be the be in the forefront of the battle. 2 years in the office passed by just like that. When the day for his return back to the moon drew near, a certain case was exposed. His daughter Frisia was involved with a young lad from Earth. The enraged noble brought Frisia back to the moon with him without even meeting with the lad once. However, he didn't realize it at the time. Inside Frisia's stomach already dwelt the child of an Earthling. When the noble noticed the existence of the baby, he tried many times to persuade her to give up on the childbirth. However, the girl never complied with him. And then 9 months passed by. A bead-like baby was born. The noble shunned his grandchild, a mix between a lunarian and an Earthling. It was only natural. A mix between a lunarian and an Earthling would have been nice before the war. But such an existence hadn't even been gossiped upon this past century. She was born in the house of a noble, a model citizen. There's no telling how bad of an influence it would be if this was made public. So then the noble hired someone to abduct the baby and abandon it before the gates of a chapel. Frisia was subject to shock, fell ill, and quickly departed from this world. The noble regretted his own actions that brought the death of his beloved daughter. However, no matter how much he grieved, his daughter wouldn't come back. The noble then made up his mind to take the baby back and raise her with his own hands as atonement, at the very least. However, the priest of the chapel refused, and the noble couldn't even see the face of the baby. The noble kept going back and forth to the chapel without giving up. Touched by the noble's passion, the priest suggested he would let him meet the baby if he made an oath. That oath was to never disclose his relationship with the baby. The noble kept his oath, and he was able to see the baby. When the noble saw the smile of the baby who knew nothing, he became conscious of his own sin. He chose to abandon the world and joined the path of religion. Then he worked at the orphanage and watched over the growth of the baby.
なるほどな。
愚かな男の話です。お気に召しましたか？
ま、退屈しのぎにはなったよ。
それは何よりです。
お前はそれでいいのか？
はい。聖職者が許されるなどおかしな話ですから。
難儀なものだな。
The voice sounds bitter. The sound of the transporter engine becomes high-pitched.
それではそろそろ。
My luggage that I left on the
モ
floor.
ーリッツ、
She remembered my name. What an honor.
お前の話は私が覚えておこう。他の誰が、お前自身が忘れたとしてもな。
Huh. Could this be? That which binds my chest becomes untied.
様。
That's right. Fiak understood me. The person who has immortality and eternal memories listened to my story. It means that she'll remember it. It holds an immense amount of meaning for me.
ありがとうございます。
礼には及ばん。世話になったからな。
Yep, it's Wreath. She says that with a mischievous
さらばだ、モーリッツ。
voice.
失礼します。
So what you're trying to say is that we get to fuck an immortal. I am joking. I'm joking. Technically not, since her route was already in the base game, so there would have to be cut H scenes that they like smoothed over for the PlayStation release, which this is based on, as I've previously stated. But in the original, we got to fuck an immortal. And I've already mentioned it in the fucking Tsujido recording. There's a chance that Serana from Pokemon X and Y is a fucking immortal. Or the male MC, I guess. I just don't know his name. Callum, was it? I don't fucking know. Bend my head down deeply towards the empty space. Drops of water fall down without sound on the stiff floor.
ならば誰があなたを救えるというのです。
Feels like I can hear Karen's
す
voice.
まないな、カレン。
I've been saved by someone other than you. Look up towards the midheaven. The sky is bright blue. This might be the last time I'll see such a color. Once young people like Estel and Asagiri increase, I'll be able to come here again.
未来を担う若者たちに神の祝福を。
A mayfly soars high into the sky, signaling the end of summer. Finn, brighter than the dawning blue. That was nice. That was really fucking nice, honestly, guys. I actually quite enjoyed that one. That was fucking gorgeous. I've made a decision with this game where I've now, thus far, I've seen like the lowest and the highest this game has to fucking offer. I will try every route. I will immediately say though, I will not promise every route. But I will try every route. I mean, I will try every route except fuck my. Fuck my. Should be a straight line towards my, like past Wreath, of course. But yeah, I don't know if I'll do my. I don't know if I'll do Sayaka. Depends on how much story importance they hold. But case in point, I will try every route, but I will not promise every route. If a route just grates me as much as Venus did, which I fucking hope no other routes do that, I will just drop them. For my own fucking mental health at this point. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. See you next time. Bye-bye.